As the railroads moved west, so did the cattle trails. And often as not, they left towns that once roared like a lion, but now lived out their days as sleepy as a sun-baked cat. Sand City was such a town, and my friend Marshal Roy Stanton had earned his right to enjoy its peace and quiet.
You Marshal Roy Stanton?
That's right.
I don't like your town. Get your dirty feet off the table. I might want to use it.
Mr. Bardeen wants service, you hear? Now get behind the bar where you belong.
He say Bardeen? Bardeen of the B-Bar B down in Texas. I hear tell you used to be pretty rough on the B-Bar Bs.
There's a crew old Bart Bardeen had. Hey, wait a minute. I bet you're his boy Bud he used to talk about. He's Mr. Bardeen to you, old man. Tell him, Bud.
My dad said this is one town that couldn't be treed. I don't believe that.
Now I'm going to tell you the same thing I used to tell your daddy. You have your fun, but don't shove. Mr. Bardeen likes good whiskey. I think Mr. Bardeen had better get it in some other town. Well, Vent Bonner.
Roy, how are you?
So you're the great Vent Bonner.
Well, I'm Bonner. Just leave it at that.
Hey, now you got you a big one, Bud. That right, Bonner? You a big one?
Or do you just sit around with the old man there talking about how big you used to be?
Son, why don't you just leave it alone?
Mr. Bonner! I don't feel like leaving it alone. I feel like tearing this town apart.
I'll buy you boys a drink. Maybe you'll feel better.
I'll handle it. I'll kill you for that!
With what? You want a reputation, don't use me.
I'm not going to be using this shoulder for a while. You say you knew the boy's father, huh?
Yeah, he was a big man. Tough, quiet. He was honest, though. Then I'm worried about that kid with Bud. He's going to beat it straight back to Bardeen. He's going to lie about this killing to save his own hide. They're going to be looking for you.
I got a right to explain how it happened.
Bent, you can't just tell a man his son has to be killed. Not until he's had time to think.
Yeah, maybe you're right. I'll play it your way.
Best, man.
I'll let you know where I am in case they want me. Peligroso, a young, dangerous one. Time healed my shoulder, but not the mark of that needless killing. I made up my mind. I picked up Bud's things Art had been holding and started the long ride south. The B-Bar B had been a big and important spread, but it looked as though time had changed that, too. Holster's a little low for you. And your gun's a little heavy.
What do you want?
I'm looking for the owner of this place.
You found me.
Oh, well, I heard you were taking on hands.
Another gunman, huh? There's been a dozen like you around here since the word got out.
Well, I'm afraid you got me wrong, miss.
Well, right or wrong, you're too late. I've already hired a man to kill Vint Bonner. No Bardeen ever sent a man away hungry. Go on around to the bunkhouse and wash up.
Thank you.
What'd you say your name was?
Well, I didn't say, but will Jones do?
All right, Jones.
Thank you.
Bang, bang. All day, every day. Best ranch in the country falling apart by the minute, and she's banging away on tin cans.
Where's the rest of the crew?
Rest of the crew quit. That's where they are. Them that didn't quit when Bud was riding roughshod over everybody quit when she started hiring killers. Been on this ranch 30 years. I can't stand it no more. Watching her killing herself with hatred. Why, I used to hold that girl when she was a baby.
Hired guns come high.
High enough she spent every cent she had trying to pay them.
Well, whoever she's paying isn't doing the job.
How could you know that?
Because I'm Vint Bonner, and I'm not that hard to find, and no one's looking for me.
That's a poor joke, friend.
Take a look at that bedroll. Bud's gun's in there. Some of his other things. I ought to kill you. Not with an empty gun, you won't.
You knew it was empty. How come you're so all-fired anxious to take it away from me?
I don't like a gun pointed at me, even an empty one. When Bud held it, it wasn't empty.
Well, Jones, I don't know what to think. All I hear around here for 3 months is Vint Bonner, Vint Bonner, Vint Bonner. Oh, how come you throwed that name at me?
Because it's my name.
If you was Vint Bonner, what would you be doing here?
Maybe trying to prove that I didn't kill a boy in cold blood.
Won't do you no good. Not with her, anyway.
But with you?
Ever raise a colt? Looked like he was going to be the best gall-daring cow horse in the whole country. In spite of anything he could do, he turned out to be a killer.
That was Bud.
He wasn't no good, I know that. I think maybe Laurie knows it too, but if she admits it, it's like admitting she failed at something she had to do.
Another killing isn't going to cure anything.
Well, maybe it won't cure it, but it's like taking a pill to keep you going. You hadn't killed him, somebody else had to do it. It's just that he wasn't worth what he's done to Laurie.
Look, Fisher, I took something away. I didn't mean it that way. It just turned out. But I'd like to try and put something back.
Well, I reckon I can understand that.
You know, this isn't a bad ranch.
Bad? Why, if the proper man was to pitch in here, there's cattle left. If a man was to round them up. And I ain't never seen a fence yet couldn't be fixed. I've seen 20 men in this bunkhouse in the old days, and I've been up that cattle trail a dozen times myself. Why, I know Sand City. Oh, that's the place it happened, ain't it?
Say there was a young fellow with him.
Oh, Collie Smith.
Yeah.
Why, he come back here and told Laurie that you shot Bud in the back just to get a notch on your gun.
Almost came out the other way around. Where is this collie?
Well, she sent him with this gunman, Craig, his name was. You know him? Well, Collie was supposed to identify you, and then he was supposed to see that you was really dead when this Craig come back here to collect his final payment.
Gives a man a funny feeling to be talking about his own funeral.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess it does at that. Oh, Roy. Lori, I've been talking with Mr. Jones here, and, well, he's kind of down on his luck, and sure could use a job.
Can't pay anything, you know that.
Wasn't thinking about money. I was more interested in a place to bed down and some steady chuck.
Maybe if we had some help, we could still ship a few cows.
Try it a few days if you want.
You know, if I do say so myself, things look a lot different than they did 2 weeks ago.
Something else looking a lot different around here, too.
Grant, I want you to move those horses down from the upper pasture.
Sure, Lori. Things have begun to look like old times, thanks to Jones here.
Well, they'll look a lot more like old times when I have Vince Bonner's hide nailed to the barn wall.
Oh, honey, I know you think you're doing what your daddy'd want you to do, but...
Go and get those horses, Grant.
Yeah.
That old man sure thinks a lot of you, Miss Laurie.
Doesn't give him a right to do my thinking for me.
Maybe he's just worried about that man Craig you've got on your payroll.
You trying to run my business too, Jones?
No, ma'am. But I've been around quite a lot. You picked me for a gunfighter, remember? Maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong, but I've known a lot of men like Craig.
You figure he's just taking my money, don't you?
That's right, ma'am. I do.
I've known that for some time. I just wrote him a letter telling him I couldn't pay him anymore.
That's good. That means you're giving it up?
Giving it up? Why do you think I practice with that gun every day?
Just a minute, Miss Laurie. You're not going to face it out with a man like Bonner?
No, I won't face him. When I find Vince Bonner, I'm going to give him the same chance he gave my brother. I'm going to shoot him right in the back of the head.
I stayed on doing what I could, but I knew it couldn't last forever. Sooner or later, someone who knew me would drop by, or old Grant Fisher would make a slip.
Vint, if you could just straighten Lori out. You know, the way you straightened the ranch out.
The name is Jones. You forgot again at breakfast this morning.
I know it. What are we going to do?
I thought I could talk to her by now. Explain to her how it was.
I've known that girl a long time. She sure don't convince easy.
I've got to change her mind somehow.
When I think of how she's changed. Why, 3 years ago, before her daddy died, every Saturday night there was 15 young men out here fighting over who'd take her to a dance. I'm telling you, Vint, this place was like a beehive.
Her name is Jones. And I promise you the young fellows will be back, but let's get washed up. Drilling's up on the North Ridge.
How did Bud's things get here?
Marshal up at Sand City sent him down. We didn't want to worry you about it. I'd like to talk to you.
You leaving?
No, not that.
I'm glad, Jones. I know it hasn't been very pleasant.
You've had a lot on your mind.
For a long time. Dad's long illness. And Bud. Perhaps before that. I'm afraid Dad was pretty disappointed when his first child wasn't a boy.
Well, that's no reason for you to try to act like a man.
There wasn't much choice. By the time I grew up, the big cattle boom was over. I saw only one herd go up the Sand City Trail. We were always short-handed here, and so I did my part.
You feel like talking about Bud?
Yes, I think I do. Seeing these things here. Oh, Jones, I want so much to think he tried.
Grant said he had a wild streak.
Well, what do you expect? My father fought for every inch of this land. He had the wildest crew on the trail. That's all Bud ever heard. He worshipped his father. He was just trying to be like Dad, that's all.
Times change, Laurie. What's acceptable in one time isn't in another.
Well, murder never is. That's why I hate Bud's killing so. One more chance. Just one more chance and he might have straightened out. Why does a boy like Bud have to die? A killer like Vince Bonner goes on living.
Well, you never can tell. This Bonner may feel just as sorry about the killing as you do.
I'd expect you to say that, Jones.
Because you believe it?
No. No. Because you're good and kind. You always look for the best in people. Even in a killer like Bonner.
There's a lot of good in the world, Laurie.
In your world, maybe. But don't invite me to live in it. Because I don't believe it. What are you doing here?
I got your letter.
Then you know you're fired.
No. I like the job. It pays well.
I told you I didn't have any more money.
I figured you could get more.
Well, I can't. I've paid you off and that's final.
Just a minute, lady. It ain't final at all. You made a bargain, and I aim to see that you keep to it.
I gave you more than you earned.
Did you?
Yes.
Tell her, Collie.
I saw him do it. He killed Vin Bonner.
There was a final payment due when I killed Bonner. I came to collect. Want to talk about it inside?
You're lying, Collie. You lied about the way Vin Bonner killed Bud, and you're lying again now.
Well, Emma, well, you better prove it. She sent me with Craig to make sure he did the job, and I made sure. Now, get!
Anything wrong?
You got to get out of here quick.
Why?
Well, Collie and Craig, they're here.
Maybe it's just as well.
You don't understand. He's come to collect.
But she said she paid him off.
The final payment. He claims he killed you.
You stay here.
I told you I didn't have it.
You got a ranch. That'll do.
That's what you were planning all along, isn't it?
That's right.
No.
You look. When you play a man's game, you play by man's rules. You made a deal and you're going to stick to it. You get a dead man, I get a ranch.
You're wrong, Craig. Twice.
What's your part in this?
A big one. I'm Brent Bonner.
Thanks for trying, Jones. I'm afraid it won't work. As Craig said, I made the rules. Collie said he did the job.
Collie's lie.
So Collie's a liar. Am I?
That's right. You're a liar, too.
I'll put the horses away, Craig.
Where am I, Collie?
So, you're Vince Bonner.
That's right. That makes you a liar and a thief. Now get out.
Now, you wait a minute. We were talking business here.
Your business is over.
I don't see it that way. I had to figure to make some easy money without killing you, Bonner. You should have left it that way.
I told you to get out.
It looks like I'm going to have to take this ranch fair and square.
All right, Collie. You want to see a killing a day in Sand City? Now it's your turn.
No, Mr. Bonner, not me, please.
Go ahead, Collie. I'll make you the same deal I made Craig.
No, Lori, you got it all wrong. I lied to you. It wasn't the way I said. He didn't shoot Bud in the back.
And it was your fault, wasn't it, Collie? You gave him the gun. I shot your brother. After he'd shot an old man and shot me in the back. I didn't want to tell you this way. Maybe it's the only way that'll work. Your brother was a rotten, no-good kid, just like this one. They were two of a kind, and you knew it. When you admit that, you'll start to live again. If you refuse to admit it, well, here's a gun. Use it. It's the only way out.
Go on, Lori, get him.
Get out and don't you ever come back. The truth isn't always easy to face, Mr. Bonner.
Nor easy to say.
I just wanted you to know that you're right. But I couldn't give up hope. And I didn't while Bud was alive. But after he was gone, I had to cling to something.
I can understand that.
I know I don't have the right to ask you, but... Well, if you could stay on a little while longer, maybe we could get those cattle down.
Well, I think they could be arranged. On one condition.
What's that?
Well, Grant here tells me that the boys used to be pretty thick around here Saturday nights.
I don't understand.
I hear there's a dance next Saturday night. Now, I have a feeling that the boys will be coming around again. But just to make sure, I'm going to take you to that dance.
That would be very nice, Mr. Bonner.
Now, if she'll just quit trying to be a man and remember she's a woman.
Oh, I don't think you'll have to worry about that anymore. Saturday. You know there's a full moon next Saturday night? It was one of those nights when the moon was so bright a man had trouble getting to sleep. Besides, I'd had a vague feeling the last hour or so that I wasn't the only one camping in the draw. Scar was acting rather spooky, just to let me know I wasn't overly happy about things. If there was someone there, he was managing to keep out of sight. Well, he could come out or he could stay put. Either way, I'd be ready, and I wasn't going to lose any sleep about it. I could see something now. A shadow. Looking for something, mister? All right, hold it. I'll put a hole in your leg. Get over here by the fire so I can take a look at you. Well, you're just a boy. Aren't you kind of young to be roaming around the country this time of night?
I ain't so young.
14, 15?
I'm only 13.
You're big for your age. What are you doing here?
Got as much right to be here as anyone else.
You haven't got as much right to be stealing my grub.
I didn't steal any.
That's what you were fixing to do, wasn't it? Of course, if you're hungry, you'd be welcome to some of these beans. That is, if you like beans.
Yes, sir. I sure like beans.
What's your name?
Ring?
You run away from home, Ring?
What makes you say that?
Well, you're 20 miles from the nearest settlement, and you're not out here just taking yourself a walk.
I ain't going back to Crescent Hill.
Crescent Hill, that your home?
Yes, sir. I ain't going back, that's all.
Eat your beans. Your pa give you a whipping?
Pa wouldn't hurt me. He's the finest man I ever lived.
Sure, all paws are.
Just because you gave me some old beans don't mean you can talk about
All right, calm down, calm down. Old enough to drink coffee?
Told you I was 13, didn't I?
Well, that's right, you did. Funny the way I keep forgetting it.
I'm headed for Petersville to find Pa. He said when I was old enough I could join up with him. Well, I'm old enough now, ain't I?
Well, looks like you are. How come you haven't been with him all along?
He moves around a lot. I've been living with Aunt Aggie and Uncle Ray ever since Ma died. But that ain't the same as being with your own Pa.
No, guess it isn't.
That's where I'm going to Petersville. Aunt Aggie got a letter from there last Monday. I heard her and Uncle Ray talking. But when they saw me listening, they shut up. They don't tell me nothing about Pa. So I'm going to find out for myself.
Well, since I'm headed for Petersville, too, I can't see any reason why we shouldn't travel together, can you?
No, sir.
And if we're going to be traveling companions, guess we ought to know one another. I'm Vint Bonner.
Vint Bonner?
That's right, son.
Mr. Bonner, if I'd have known who you was, I didn't mean to talk...
Don't worry about it, son.
Mr. Bonner, I wonder, what I mean is, I've heard folks talk about that six-shooter of yours ever since I was a kid. Oh.
Sure, as long as you don't fire.
Ain't near as heavy as it looks.
You can handle a gun real well.
My pa taught me.
Well, we got a long ride ahead of us. If we're going to get any sleep, we better get to bed. You kicking your sleep, boy?
No, sir.
Good. What's the matter, boy?
Mr. Bonner, I ain't never been in a hotel before.
That's always the first time, Ring. Come on. Morning.
Morning.
You got a room?
Yeah.
Room for two, still $50.
Yeah.
Oh, here you are. Which room is it?
Number 5 is empty. Is it 6? No, it's 5.
What's your pledge?
Is this a tree or a weed, Mr. Bonner?
Oh, that's a tree, a genuine palm tree, clear from California.
California? I ain't never seen nothing like that before.
Let's go see our room. What's the matter? Don't you like it?
Like it? It's elegant.
Well, good. Make yourself comfortable. Lie down if you want. I gotta go out for a little while.
Where you going, Mr. Bonner?
I gotta go pay the sheriff a little visit.
Sheriff?
What's the matter?
Nothing. Just don't like sheriffs, that's all.
Well, don't tell me they've been giving you trouble lately.
No. Just don't like them.
Well, I suppose there's good and bad sheriffs like everything else. But if your paw's in Petersville, then Sheriff Jay's most likely to know where to find him. So...
Help! Help! They shot Mr. Stanton!
Come on, Jeff, we got everything we want. Let's get out of here.
Help!
Frank, you stay here.
Get back here!
Just take it easy, Brownie. You're going to be all right now. Let's get him inside. Reeves, put him in my office. Now, real easy now, because he's hurt. Charlie, run up and get Doc Perkins down here right away. Tom, get my horse and bring it back over here. I'm going to need 6 of you men for a posse. Get your horses and get back here right away. The rest of you, get off the street. Joe, get over to the bank and see what you can do and stand guard there. Howdy, Sheriff. Hello, Vint. Good to see you, as usual. How's Brownie? Oh, he's just waiting. He'll be all right. We'll talk later. All right. All right, let's go. Sheriff couldn't help it, boy. He had a job to do.
Killing my pa. You call that doing a job?
Rink, you're gonna have to try to understand.
Your pa and those men, they were breaking the law. They were robbing a bank.
Nobody would ever let me see him. Why wouldn't they let me see him, Mr. Bonner? He was my father. Why couldn't I ever see him?
You're a man now, Rink. You're gonna have to learn to act like one.
The sheriff killed my father. He shot him out in the street, and that makes him a murderer.
Now, Rink.
A dirty, rotten murderer! It makes him a murderer! A murderer!
Rink, stop it. I'm sorry I had to hit you, Rink.
Why should you be? You're his friend, ain't you? He killed my father, and you're his friend.
Rink.
I'm sorry about that Larkin boy.
I was just going out looking for him.
Just wish it hadn't happened that way.
You couldn't help what happened out there any more than I could. What about the rest of the gang that took the bank?
Turned dark on us. We lost their trail. We'll pick it up again at daybreak. You, explain things to the boy?
I tried. I'm afraid I didn't do very good. He took off a while back.
Well, do you know where he went?
No.
Ed, that Larkin is a confirmed outlaw. Price on his head, notches in his gun. I couldn't help what happened out there. I got a job to do.
I know you got a job to do, Sheriff. How'd I explain that to his son?
I don't know. Maybe when he gets a little older, he'll understand.
Well, as things don't wait for a person to reach the understanding age, they happen. Whether he's ready or not. I had a hunch where I'd find him. It was a hill out at the south end of town where they buried men like Jeff Larkin. Men who lived and died by the gun. You want some supper, Rink?
I'm not hungry.
How about coming back to town with me?
I'm staying here.
You can't stay here all night.
I'll stay here as long as I want. You're on that sheriff's side. You believe he was right to kill my pa.
People don't have sides, Rink. Not in a thing like this.
I do. I'm on my pa's side. I don't care what they say. He was a good man.
Maybe with you, your father was different than with other folks. Maybe with you, he was good.
I'm gonna make it up to him. I'm gonna get even with that sheriff.
Here,
Will you let me alone? Just stop John and let me be.
All right. If you change your mind, I'll be at the hotel. I didn't get much sleep. I kept expecting Rink to come back. Thought he'd change his mind after a couple of hours. But here it was daylight, and there hadn't been a sign of him. Rink!
Hey, Ben. Sheriff Jay.
Oh, come on in, Sheriff.
Boy's not with you.
No, I haven't seen him since last night out by his father's grave. Why? Something the matter?
Thompson's store was broken into last night. No money stolen, but there's a revolver and some bullets missing.
Oh.
I found some some boot prints outside the back window. Not quite man-sized boot prints. They left a real clear trail. Too clear. Almost as if who left it intentional.
You think it was a Larkin kid, huh?
Yep.
Could be.
Tell me something. What's he doing stealing a gun and leaving the trail like that?
Maybe like you said, Sheriff. Maybe it was intentional.
That'd be foolish. Unless... Don't tell me he's got some fool notion about revenging his father.
He did say something about getting even.
Then he wants me to follow it. That way you'll get a chance to kill me, is that it?
That could be about it.
Jeff Larkin ain't the first man I killed, and he's deserved it more than most. But killing him didn't solve nothing. It just turned his boy bad.
What are you going to do about it?
What do you expect me to do? Go out there in the hills and shoot it out with a 13-year-old boy? I got one at home the same age. And if that Larkin kid was standing right there in the door covering me, I couldn't shoot him. I just wouldn't be able to shoot.
You'd shoot. Nothing else you could do. Which way'd the trail lead?
Flat Canyon.
This the place they call Black Canyon?
Yeah. Don't know why either. The rocks here are the same color as anywhere else.
Names are funny things. I came through a town in Arizona once called Big Lake. Wasn't any water for miles around, not even a creek. It seems like the first settler came through there said what they needed was a big lake. So wouldn't you know, that's what they named it? Let's move on a little further.
Don't move or you're dead. All right, now reach slowly for your guns and throw them on the ground. You first. Now you. That's right. Now take it real easy, Sheriff, and climb out of your saddle. Real easy, Sheriff, so I don't have to use this thing. That's the way to do it, Sheriff. Now you do the same. That's good. Now both of you take a couple of steps away from your horses. Who are you, mister?
Name's Bonner. Clint Bonner.
Clint Bonner. Yeah, you're supposed to be pretty handy with a six-shooter. Too bad you won't get a chance to prove it.
What do you mean one of you back at the bank?
That's right, you did.
What happened to him?
He's dead, just like Larkin.
How did you know Larkin was dead?
I don't know, I shot him.
You shot him? Have you seen anything of his kid?
Whose kid?
Larkin's kid, boy about 13.
I didn't know he had a kid.
We think he's out gunning for the sheriff here.
Sure takes after his old man, don't he?
How do you mean?
That was Larkin's trouble. That's why I got rid of him. He liked the gun too much.
I know what you mean. Not much you can do with them after they get that way, is there?
Ah, what's the difference? He'd have been killed sooner or later anyway. All I did was help it along.
You did that all right.
Me, I'm different. I don't enjoy killing the way Larkin did.
We sure are glad to hear that.
Of course, there are times when a man don't have much choice. Like now, maybe. My friend and I need fresh horses to break out of these hills.
Traeger, I got a posse out scouring these hills.
Only one way I know of getting horses and making sure you boys stay put. So, I guess I don't have much choice. No more than I had with Larkin.
Hello, Mr. Browning. Sheriff?
Hello, Link.
You been up there behind that rock all this time?
You seen me there, didn't you, Mr. Bonner? You knew I was behind that rock. That's why you kept him talking about my paw.
I saw something. I was sure hoping to be you, Rink.
I'm glad I heard what he said, Mr. Bonner. Otherwise, I would have never known the truth about my paw.
I'll take this.
I'm awful sorry, Mr. Bonner. I'm sorry, Sheriff.
That's all right, son. We're mighty beholden to you. Get down over there where I can keep an eye out.
You handle the gun real good.
My pa taught me. I still can't believe he was that kind of man. He was always so good to me.
Well, maybe someday we'll understand that better. You ready to go home?
You two go on. I'll take care of things here.
Well, there's still a little matter of the hardware store, isn't there, Sheriff?
Well, I can take care of that. Place the boy in your custody.
Rink, about this custody business, it's not permanent, you know. Only till they get you back to your Aunt Aggie's. Maybe you'll get along better with her from now on, huh?
Yes, sir.
Get off that horse. I said get off that horse. That's better. Now I'll just relieve you of all that folding money you're carrying. I said give me the money, mister.
I'd just finished 3 months' work at the Winslow spread. And though the pay was the best in the state, my heels were beginning to itch, so I was on my way to the Copper Springs Bank to get my check cashed and move on. Handsome-sized check, too. $67. Copper Springs was generally one of the quietest towns you ever saw. But today it looked and sounded like a kettle just before coming to a boil, shaking and humming all over. Couldn't help wondering what all the excitement was about.
Can you believe it, Mac? Sheriff Hempel capturing the Wyoming kid. The sheriff didn't exactly capture him, Ollie. Well, then who? The way I understand it, the posse just sort of stumbled onto the kid.
After coming down the long trail from Fort Drexel, Scar could use a good feed and some water, while I took care of my business at the bank.
He was stretched flat in a grove of sycamore down by 10-Foot Creek. When they brought him by my house in the morning, he had a bullet in his shoulder, and he was still out cold. Out cold? Bank isn't open yet.
Oh, I see.
Sheriff say who shot him and left him lying there? That's what I'm trying to tell you. No one seems to know. 9 o'clock. All I can say is that he was in good health yesterday when he rode out here with $2,500 of my money.
Cash check.
Excuse me, please.
All right.
I'm sorry.
All right.
Good morning, Mr. Hawkins. I'm sorry I'm late, but excuse me, please. But Matilda had another one of her fainting spells last night, and I had to wait till Doc McIntyre got out there to look at her.
All right, Jonas, all right. Now get in your cage. Customer's waiting.
Yes, sir, but you know how Matilda is. Once she gets an idea in her head, there's just no arguing with her.
I'd like to cash my check.
The clerk isn't in his office yet.
So I see.
Jonas, you hear about them capturing Jet King?
Jet King?
The fellow who held us up yesterday, the Wyoming kid. His real name is Jet King. Sheriff says he found him down near 10-Foot Creek, all shot up. Take a mighty big man to stand up to Jet King. And there's up to 10 graves that'll testify to that.
Look, I haven't got all day. If you'll just cash my check, I'll be on my way.
What's your name, mister?
Bonner, Vint Bonner.
You say Vint Bonner? What's the matter, Mac? Why, he's a six-shooter, Ollie. What? Ain't that right, Mr. Bonner?
I've been called that.
I guess we don't have to do any more wondering who shot the Wyoming kid.
Excuse me, sir, but I have to check my daily ledger.
If I had known you were around here, we wouldn't have had any doubts in the first place. Well, there ain't no doubt about it, Ollie. Well, take a mighty fast man to outdraw the Wyoming kid. And the six-shooter here is about the fastest man west of the Mississippi.
Hold it. In the first place, I don't know any Wyoming kid. And as for outdrawing him, I never...
Sure, Mr. Bonner. Everybody knows how the six-shooter don't like to take credit for what he does. Well, you ain't going to get away with it here in Copper Springs.
Now, listen to me a minute. I told you I don't...
Wait till I tell the sheriff we know who shot the Wyoming kid.
Sheriff!
Now, about that check.
Where's he going?
We'll be most happy to oblige. Jonas!
Hey, you!
Will you cash the check for the check?
Bonner, come right in, sir. This is a real privilege to meet you. Mac was just in here telling me all about it. He just scooted through that door to spread the news all over town.
Look,
Oh, not that I wouldn't have got that Jet King myself sooner or later, but you sure did speed up the operation. Yes, sir. Have a seat, son. Sit right down.
Sheriff, look, I want to talk to you about that.
Oh, now, don't you worry none about the reward. I'll see that you get every penny of it.
Reward? I don't want any reward.
Everybody says you're the generous type, all right.
I'm not that generous. Look, when Jet King comes to, ask him if I shot him.
Oh, Jet, he came to quite a while ago. Old Doc McIntyre's passed him up near as good as new.
Well, fine. Just ask him if I shot him.
Ask him. Well, what do you think I did as soon as Mac told me about it? Jet says you made a lucky draw. He's got to have an alibi.
You mean he says I shot him too?
You're the six-shooter, ain't you? Well, that's the feller he said done it all right.
I think I'd like to have a talk with Jet King.
Well, I reckon we can arrange that. Jet?
Huh?
This here the fellow who shot you?
We're going over that again, Sheriff. I told you who'd done it.
Yeah, I know, but Mr. Bonner here, he kind of disagrees with you.
I sure do.
You do, huh?
You were ready enough to pull the trigger last night. Why are you trying to lie your way out of it now?
King, you know I didn't shoot you. Sheriff, I give you my word.
Mr. Bonner, we all know how you feel about accepting honors, but this time you're not going to be able to get out of it. As a matter of fact, I believe there's a little doings planned for later on this afternoon. After the parade, that is.
Parade?
There won't be nothing much. Just a way for the folks here in Copper Springs to show their appreciation for what you've done.
Sheriff, I want to talk to Jet King. Alone.
All right, Mr. Bonner. I sure don't see what you hope to gain by it.
All right, King. What are you trying to pull?
I hear there's a pretty big reward out for me.
You know I'm not entitled to that reward.
As long as I keep saying you're the fella, you're the one who's going to collect. I'm doing you a favor. Of course, it's just between the two of us now that I see you real close up. Just might have been somebody else.
Must have been a real fast gun.
He wasn't. I mean, I'm fast, too. Plenty fast.
No matter how fast you are, there's always someone a little bit faster.
Not too many, Benner. Maybe you, one or two others, but not too many.
Oh, sure. But, you could be getting a little old, slowing down a bit.
Slowing down? I'm just as fast as I ever was. You think I'm going to let folks know that I was outdrawed by a little runt with gray hair? When grocery clerk, maybe he even wore a ready-made suit. It's stiff collar, the high kind that chokes a man on the top. Who would ever thought a runt like that would know how to use a gun?
Well, suppose we just tell that to the sheriff.
Wait a minute. Tell the sheriff what?
What you just said.
I ain't telling that to nobody else. Nobody. I got no choice. It's one thing to be outshot by Vet Bonner, but that ain't so hard to swallow. But the idea of being outthrown and outshot by a nobody. Why, I'll never be able to face my friends again after I break out of jail, that is.
King, you're talking like a fool.
Yeah. Yes, sir, Mr. Bonner. It sure was a lucky break for me when the sheriff said you were in town. After all, I got my reputation to consider. Your reputation. Sheriff!
Everything all right, Mr. Bonner?
I'm getting out of here. Just wasn't any use trying to convince people. They wanted a hero, and I was it, like it or not. Well, there's one thing I could do. I could clear out of town. And then I remembered I still hadn't cashed that check. What was it King had said? Something about a little gray-haired fella wearing one of those ready-made suits and the kind of stiff collar that chokes a man half to death?
Oh, yes, sir. Is there anything I can... Why, it's Mr. Bonner.
That's right.
Well, you certainly stir up a lot of talk, Mr. Bonner.
I seem to.
Mr. Hoffman just stepped out for a few minutes. Of course, if there's anything I can do for you.
You're all alone, huh?
Well, things are kind of quiet this time of day.
Wasn't that way when I was here this morning. As a matter of fact, in all the excitement, I forgot to cash my check. I thought maybe you'd do that for me.
Oh, well, oh, of course. Never any trouble with one of Mr. Winslow's checks.
You've been with the bank a long time, huh?
Yes, 23 years now, going on 24.
That's so.
65, 66, 67. There you are, Mr. Bonner. I think that'll do it.
That should do it.
Would there be anything else, Mr. Bonner?
Well, there is one other thing. I was just over to the jail. Had a long talk with Chet King.
You did?
And he told me all about the shooting last night.
Well, must have been very interesting. Well, excuse me, I have to get back to work.
And he gave me a description of the man who shot him. You know what? That description fits you right down to that white collar you're wearing. Now, isn't that strange?
Oh, yes, it is strange. Very, very strange.
And what's more, you're just about the only man I've seen in town that the description does fit.
I'm afraid that I don't understand you, Mr. Bonner.
Well, I'll just go over and have a talk with the sheriff about it.
No, Mr. Bonner, Mr. Bonner. Mr. Bonner, please. What were you going to talk to the sheriff about?
Oh, I thought I'd talk to him about this. Now, suppose you tell me how you shot Jet King.
Well, I was late. I was late for dinner. I was out at the Widow Tolliver's on business, and I knew that Matilda would probably be a little worried if I didn't show up soon. So, Widow Tolliver, I just can't drink any more tea. I got to be getting home.
Now, Jonas, I don't see why you're in such a powerful hurry.
Widow Tolliver, you know Matilda has supper on the table at 4:30 sharp. Here it is nightfall already. Well, she's just as likely as not to have another one of her fainting spells.
Fainting spells? Oh, now, what kind of a way is that to get a man to mind? Why, when my Clarence was late for supper, Lord rest his soul, I just lean over the table and clop him right in the chops.
Oh, well, good night. Good night, Widow Tolliver.
You got a gun on you?
Gun?
You mean you're taking my money to the bank without a gun on you to protect it?
Protect it? But I don't need a gun.
Now, you wait right here. I won't be but a minute.
But Widow Tolliver, I don't need anything. I'm just going to... I'll have you know I've been with the bank 24 years now, and I've never lost a single solitary cent.
I wouldn't care if you was with the bank 100 years, Jonas Pilgrim. You just take this.
Oh.
That's my money you're carrying.
Well, good night.
Good night, Jonas.
As far as you go, mister. Get off that horse.
What do you think you're doing?
I'll just take that horse you're riding. Get off.
Well, this is absolutely the most outrageous thing
I said get off that horse.
Yes.
That's better. Since you're carrying that bankroll, I'll take that too.
What?
I want that money, mister.
That's exactly the way it happened, Mr. Bonner. I didn't intend to. I didn't even know who he was. I wasn't here when he held up the bank.
Well, no telling what had happened if you hadn't been.
It all happened so fast. I mean, the way this fella came at me out of the dark, grabbed my horse, pulled his gun. Oh, I shouldn't have done it. I don't know what got into me.
Now, don't tell me you're sorry you shot a man like Jet King.
Mr. Bonner, Well, the fact is, I'm a married man.
What's that got to do with it?
Matilda, that's my wife. Well, Matilda's kind of particular about things. She's terrible particular about me, for instance. That's why I gotta wear this doggone collar.
Well, I'm sorry, Jonas, I still don't see...
But, Mr. Bonner, don't you see, if Matilda thought I even so much as touched a gun, why... I don't think she'd ever let me out of her sight again.
Well, looks to me like you take care of yourself pretty good.
Well, as a matter of fact, I have had some experience with a gun. Oh, I don't know. I guess it was just some old instincts coming out in me. First thing I knew, there he was, lying there in the dirt.
You mean you used to be a gunfighter?
When I come out west, a fella had to be able to shoot his way out of a spot or two if he wanted to stay alive. For instance, once when I was... Well, I guess it don't look much like it now, do I?
Well, Jonas, every man's bound to do a certain amount of aging.
Yeah? Sometimes I think I've done a little more than my share. Anyhow, now you know why I don't want folks to know about what happened last night.
Well, that's all very well, but, Jonas, I can't take credit for something that you did.
But Mr. Bonner!
Mr. Bonner! Jet King just broke out of jail. Yeah, he must have had a friend or somebody help him. Sheriff is getting a posse together. Wants you to join it.
Look here now.
Sheriff figures they are heading toward Badwater Falls.
I'm sorry, I won't be able to oblige.
Well, why not? You already captured Jet King once.
Let's just say that once was enough. Which way is Badwater Falls?
South! Due south!
I'm going north. Due north.
Inside of 5 minutes, the whole male population of Copper Springs had galloped out of the other end of the town, headed south. I guess that made Jonas Pilgrim and me the only 2 men in town who hadn't run off with a posse. Not that I was especially glad that King had broken jail, but they were bound to catch up with the Wyoming kids sooner or later. From the looks of it, seemed like the man who ran the stable had run off with the others, but I'd already paid for Scar's keep, so...
Don't move. Now, you just keep holding on to that saddle, Mr. Bonner. Get to the door, keep your eyes peeled. One more move and I'll blow your head off.
You're not going to get away with this, King.
Nobody to stop me except you.
That shoulder will slow you down some.
Don't worry about me, Bonner. I'll make out. I'm taking your horse.
There are other horses.
Not as good as yours.
Some days it just doesn't pay to get out of bed. Bump on King's skull and the crease in his friends, I thought maybe I could get out of town before the hullabaloo started all over again, but I had to move fast.
Oh, Mr. Pilgrim.
Oh.
You through for the day at the bank?
Oh, yes, we close at 4 o'clock sharp. I'm on my way home now.
I wonder if you'd mind doing me a little favor. Put off your supper for a while. Till the posse gets back, that is.
Well, what for, Mr. Bonner?
Well, you see, the sheriff left with the posse, and there's no one watching the jail.
I don't see what difference it makes. Jed King was the only prisoner, and he's escaped.
Well, now you never can tell, Mr. Pilgrim. Suppose someone was to break in. They could do a lot of damage. You can't tell what important papers the sheriff might have in his files over there.
Oh, it seems to me the sheriff should have locked up before he left. Mm-hmm. Oh, no, I'd never leave the bank like this, not if my life depended on it. Now, you know that, Mr. Bonner, don't you?
I certainly do. I certainly do, but the way I figure it, you're more conscious of your responsibilities than most people.
Well, if a man's got a job to do, it's his plain duty to perform it as well as he knows how.
Then you won't mind holding the fort till the sheriff shows up. You know, I just wouldn't feel right running off with no one minding the jail.
Well, no, Mr. Bonner.
A civic-minded citizen just like yourself.
It seems to me you're worrying unnecessarily.
You'll never know how much I appreciate this. You just sit there a little while until somebody shows up.
Hope it won't be more than a little while. Matilda's
You better hold on to this, too. Never can tell when you might need it. Old gunfighter like you. And these. Now, just make yourself comfortable.
Oh, Mr. Bonner.
Yeah?
I hope you're not put out by my letting folks think it was you who shot Jed King last night.
I think that's taken care of.
You know, sometimes it's best for a man to take responsibility for a thing, even if he didn't do it himself.
You know what? You've got a point. I'll be seeing you.
Sure was nice riding out of Copper Springs with $67 in my pocket. Though I would have given a good part of it to have seen the expression on the sheriff's face when he...
I hadn't seen this with my own eyes. I swear I wouldn't believe it.
Kind of tickled me that Jed King's reputation would never be the same. Though I admit I was a little worried about how Matilda would react to Jonas's newfound talent. But then wasn't it Jonas who said that sometimes it's best for a man to take the responsibility for a thing, even if he didn't do it?
I hadn't figured on going through Clay City. I was already a day late to the Jefferson Ranch where I'd signed on for the roundup. But when Scar started favoring his right hind hoof, I didn't have any choice.
Safe. Come on, hurry it up. Open her up. Throw it over. Thanks. All
Gonna be hotter than a Dutch oven with the biscuits burning.
Guess you're right.
Boss on the shoe?
I think it's split.
Let's look at it.
Easy, boy. Yeah, Split. I'll fix him up for you. Tonic.
What's wrong with you?
Well, the professor that sold it to me said it was general debility, sort of wasting away. Besides, it tastes good.
What happened to Jonesy, the fella used to own the shop?
He went on out to Nevada chasing silver.
I see.
My name is Fred Burgelman. What do they call you, mister?
Bonner. Vint Bonner.
Vint Bonner. He's mighty quick getting to Clay City. How'd you hear about it so soon?
Hear about what?
Why, the holdup over at the express office, ain't that why you're here?
Oh, I was going around Clay City and my horse split a shoe. Any idea who did it?
Not a single solitary one from what I hear.
How's that?
Well, Amos Chavalda, the deputy agent, got shot up pretty bad. He ain't done no talking of late. Then his assistant, Sam DeRemus, he's dead.
I suppose Sheriff Lawson's taking a posse out.
Well, ain't nobody to go.
Why not?
Well, most of the boys signed up for that Jefferson Roundup. Left town day before yesterday. Your old Jeff's paying pretty good money this year.
Well, Lawson's a good man. He'll do all right.
Guess so. Even though I ain't no admirer of the sheriff's.
How come?
He's a hard man. Hard as nails.
He takes his badge pretty serious.
Yeah. Last week, the Texas cowboy in town got oiled up on that kill me quick whiskey. Bragged he was going to raise hell and put a rock under it.
Sounds about normal.
Pulled a gun on the sheriff, too, and said he was going to blow him higher than a prairie twister. Aimed his gun around at some of the other people. Sure, he was breaking the peace all right. But a man like Lawson could have taken him in without killing him. But he killed him.
I guess he thought he had to.
Yep, like I say, he's a hard man.
I know Lawson. There aren't any gray cats where he's concerned. Man's either on one side of the law or the other.
Nice horse.
My nearest of kin. I'll look around while you're fixing his shoe.
Right.
I'm Mrs. DeRemus, Sam's wife.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
My man was killed in here. He helped around the place, did odd jobs.
I'm sorry to hear about your husband, Miss Doremus.
I know you, Mr. Bonner. My husband pointed you out to me. They've got him over at the undertaker's. Fussing over him more now than when he was alive.
It's too bad. Such hard luck doesn't seem quite fair.
Hard luck always followed Sam. He was one of the meek ones that wasn't ever going to inherit the earth.
Takes all kinds, ma'am.
I want to ask you something. He never bothered anyone. It seems as though someone should pay for his death. That much at least is coming to him.
I'm sure Sheriff Lawson will take care of it.
But he isn't, Mr. Bonner. He isn't doing a thing. But then I suppose Sam wasn't important enough to bother about.
There was some blood on the ground. And then just red mud. And some hoof prints that trailed off. One shoe was different from the other three. A sharp rock must have cut into it sometime or another. Not enough to split it, but just enough so as the print left a jagged line.
Yeah. You find something?
Did you notice those hoof prints back there, Sheriff?
Yeah.
Shouldn't be too hard to track.
No, they don't mean anything, Vin.
How come?
Trail gives out a mile or so down the creek.
Well, you know how trails are. Sometimes you can pick them up a little ways down.
Look, you asked me a question about these. I answered it. Let's go get some coffee.
Sheriff, is the agent able to talk yet?
I'm afraid not. Doc Evans said he'd let me know first thing he came around. Doc took Amos out to his office the other side of town.
I suppose you were out there last night.
No reason to go.
Don't you think you might, just in case?
Thought it would be a better idea to stick close to town.
Well, it doesn't look like anything else is going to happen in town. I'll get my horse and join you at Doc's.
Then, I can handle this alone.
I sort of promised Mrs. Doremus. That's Sam's wife.
All right, I'll meet you out at Doc's.
Tied him around the side so's he'd be in the shade. He's all fixed up.
That's blind. You're the only blacksmith in these parts, aren't you?
Well, there's one for 40 miles.
You seen a horse that's got a shoe with one jagged edge, left rear leg?
Well, Mr. Bonner, lots of shoes that got jagged edges.
Yeah. Well, I'm not much of an artist, but it looks something like this. With two markings right in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Seemed like I did see a shoe like that the other day.
Yeah?
Yeah. I remember. They told him he better get a new one for it. It was Ted, that's who it was, just the other day.
Ted who?
Ted Lawson, the sheriff's boy. You know him, don't you, Mr. Bonner?
Yeah, I know him. I haven't seen him for a few years.
Yeah. Mighty good-looking boy. You wouldn't know him. Seemed like that boy just sort of growed up overnight.
I guess he has.
He's bad, but I guess you can see him.
Let's talk to Amos. Hello, Amos.
He didn't have no reason to shoot a sheriff.
Yeah, Doc told us.
Hit Sam in the belly. Hit me in the chest. Just like he enjoyed shooting us. Enjoyed it.
Take it easy, Amos.
Well, look, maybe he was scared.
He wasn't scared. Didn't have no reason. Thought he killed both of us. And he went down the steps. I got my hand on the shotgun and let him have it.
You hit him?
I don't know. Maybe he gave a yell and rode off.
What kind of a fellow was he? Young? Old?
I didn't see his face. A young fellow, though, I'd say.
How young?
19, 20, full grown.
Are you sure, Amos?
He acted young, moved young.
Tall? Short?
Medium. About the size your kid weighed.
You had enough, Wade?
Yeah, I've had enough. Well, killer. Didn't have no reason to shoot. Glad you're in town, Vet. You'll help Wade get him, huh?
Yeah, I'll help Amos.
We're wasting our time, Vin. He's got a day's head start. He'd be 40 miles from here.
Not if he's hit.
But we don't know where to start.
Along the creek is as good a place as any.
But we'll never catch up with him.
Sheriff, suppose we just try.
Talked to Fred. I asked him if he knew anyone who had a horse that would leave markings like the ones we're following. He said your boy did. I thought you ought to know.
A lot of shoes leave that same kind of mark.
Amos said it was a young fella.
Well, it wasn't Ted.
Where is he now?
Jefferson Ranch. Left Clay City day before yesterday.
I see.
Look, it couldn't be Ted. There were a lot of half-weaned gun tops around these parts, but not Ted. Ted's a good boy. It couldn't be him.
You're sure?
I wouldn't cover up for anybody, not even my own boy. You know how I feel about this badge.
Yes, I know.
My old man was a deputy. Worked for $50 a month, with a wife and 2 kids. Never had a saddle in his life that was worth more than $20. But the thieving nothing that gunned him down bragged that he had paid $200 for his saddle. A genuine Paget it was, made in Waco. I was just 16 then, but I've never forgotten it. I guess it's been eating away at me ever since. Dirt. Murdering, thieving, dirt, honing for trouble. They're no good, all of them. They're all the same.
No, they're not all the same. Oh, all the same, maybe in trying to prove something, like throwing a loose rope on a stray steer, or being fast with a .45, or even impressing a girl. But they're not all the same, even the ones that break the law, men or boys. That's a good thing to remember.
Wasn't too hard to follow. Every once in a while, we'd see a few drops of blood.
Piece of shirt tail, soaked through with blood. Much further. Whose is it?
It used to belong to Walt Davis. Died a couple of years ago. Nobody living there now.
Somebody is there. There's a pony out back. I'll have to go the rest of the way on foot.
gonna let him kill me. We'll have to get to the back of that cabin.
He may see us.
We'll have to take that chance. It's not going to be easy to take him now that he's seen us.
Ben, listen. We've got to take him alive.
It is Ted, isn't it?
I don't know. I'm not for sure.
But it could be.
It could be, Ted. I had an argument with him a few nights ago. You know how those things are.
Hey, Dad?
What do you want?
Dad? Hey, Dad, look at me.
All right, I'm looking.
I need some money.
Money? What for?
I've been playing poker.
Again?
Look, Dad, I lost heavy. You gotta help me.
Help you? You lost your shirt gambling, and you expect me to help you?
Yes. I don't have anywhere else to go.
Well, don't come to me. I wouldn't give you a dime. Not if you got down on your knees and begged for it.
I shouldn't have expected any understanding from a man like you. A man with a blind spot. Hurting to be judge and jury to anybody who ever made a mistake.
The only mistake I ever made was letting you run wild. Gambling.
All right. I'm sorry I asked you. I'll get the money myself, any way I have to.
You do anything wrong, and that's just a sample of what's gonna happen to you.
All right, Dad. All right. But I'll get it.
And that's the last I've seen of him. I wish he had hit me back.
Wouldn't have made any difference.
It's not all his fault, Ben. It's just as much mine.
You didn't raise him to be a killer.
Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't give him any choice.
I'll rush him alone.
Stay there.
He's killed one man, maybe two by now.
Killing Ted won't bring him back.
He had no reason to shoot those men. He'll kill again.
He's my son, Ben.
That doesn't really change things, does it?
Look, we're going back to town.
Not without him, we're not.
Look, you're faster than me, Ben. I'll still have time to get a shot off. Ted's gonna have a chance to get away, and I'm gonna turn in my badge.
I'll try and take him alive.
Don't turn your back on me! Don't be a fool! Ben, don't make me do it!
Wait!
Wade.
I had to do it. He would have killed you.
Wade, listen to me.
No, go away. It's too late. He was my boy. I'll bury him alone.
Come with me.
That's not my boy. That's not him. That's somebody else. That's not my boy at all.
Of course not. Man doesn't change overnight. Neither does a boy. Come on, let's see a doctor. Get that arm fixed up.
It's funny that doesn't hurt anymore.
It's surprising how little people really know about one another. Even those who are bound by the closest of bonds. Brothers, a husband and wife, or a father and son like Wade and Ted. It takes a little more effort to see the good in people than it does the bad, but it's worth it. Come fall, unless your roots are anchored deep, it doesn't take much of a wind to start you rolling on. And me and the tumbleweeds have this in common. We're rooted shallow. It was late October, the sun was still hot, but the nights were getting an edge to them, and wedges of geese lined the sky at sunup. Guess I was following them south.
Yeah, boy.
Mister, I wonder if you'd... Mister!
Well, howdy. Hey, let me give you a hand. I was walked to before, but I didn't see you come up.
Oh. All right. That's real good. Much obliged. Now, let's see if we can find a shoe to fit you.
Hey, he looks like he's sort of shoe.
Yeah, about 5 miles back up the road.
No use yelling. He's deaf as a post.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, being deaf has its points, especially when you're married to a woman who rattles on the way I've been doing for the last 50 years. Maybe that's why he lost his hearing, so he wouldn't have to listen to me. Anyways, we made it to our golden anniversary, and we still enjoy having each other around.
Congratulations, ma'am.
Clay,
Yeah.
I got you a present.
A present for me. Ain't gold, is it? Now, Emily, what did I ever do to deserve this?
Just gold-plated for our golden anniversary.
What's that you're saying?
Our golden anniversary.
Oh, our golden anniversary. And I clean forgot.
You'd forget your head if it wasn't tied on. Maybe you just don't want to remember how long it's been. But I do, Mr. Davis, because they've been good years, every one of them.
What's that you're saying?
Nothing. How do you like your belt?
Well, Emily, it's real pretty. But what you should have bought me is one of them there ear trumpets.
All aboard! We're moving out, folks. All aboard!
Now throw the box down.
Nothing in it worth stealing.
I'll be the best judge of that. Throw it down. Now your gun.
Gold buckle, huh? I'll take that too. Pull it off. I said, give me the belt.
He can't hear you. He's deaf.
Get over here.
Don't touch my money! Come on.
Oh, my darling. Oh.
Haven't you done enough?
I'd seen the geese flying south, and listening to them talking to each other, I thought of what that lady had said about being deaf, and how maybe it has its points. And I wanted to tell her how wrong she was.
Hold it! Kid, he's covered.
Yeah, but why?
Ah, there were two of you. Where's your partner?
There's supposed to be someone else?
Don't be funny. We want straight answers, and we want them mighty quick.
Kit Springer, isn't it? That any way to say hello?
Bonner? Then Bonner?
Sure. Why don't you put that thing down and have a cup of coffee?
Well, Vince, what a sight for sore eyes. Put it away, Lex.
You mean you know this fella?
Know him? Why, he and I rode the Bitterroot Range together.
Sorry, we didn't know it was you.
Who did you have in mind?
You see, we're members of a posse. A couple of boys held up the stage last night.
A couple of boys? How did you figure on me? I'm all alone except for my horse Sky here.
You could have split up.
No, men on the run ain't apt to do that. Well, does the order for coffee still hold?
Sure, help yourself. You say they held up a stage.
Yeah.
Could have been the one I saw pulling out of Cottonwood yesterday.
Yeah, more likely. There was some shooting. One of the passengers got himself shot. There you are, Lex. Good and hot.
Thank you.
You know which one it was?
It was some old man. He didn't do what they told him to do, only kind of he was stone deaf.
Oh, that's too bad. Poor fella. How about his wife?
Nobody hurt her. Just the old man. Oh, this is my brother, Lex. You know, he was just a kid when you and I were riding the Bitterroot Range.
Hi.
Sheriff at Cottonwood. He grabbed a couple of dozen boys and swore us in as a posse. That's why we took a shot at you. We're sorry.
It's all right with me, as long as you missed. Where's the rest of your posse?
With the sheriff. He thinks the killers are headed for Patch Canyon. We don't see it that way.
No, we figured that they would head for the South Pass. Because if they made it, they'd be in the clear. With nobody between them and the border.
Sounds reasonable.
Well, not so reasonable now we run into you. That is, unless you've seen somebody pass during the night.
Only thing I saw was a flight of geese.
Well, I reckon our hunch was wrong. Because they would have to come right by here. This is the only trail, isn't it?
That's right. Of course, I've had my fire burning for a couple of hours. They could have seen it and gone around.
Well, yeah, that's right, Kit. They could have. Maybe our hunch is right yet.
Well, that's no good, even if it is. Because, you see, we don't know the route from here on in. We've never been through the pass.
I thought you boys said you were from Cottonwood.
No. No, we were on our way through Cottonwood when the sheriff grabbed us and put us in the posse. We're from up north, Fort Drexel way.
Yeah. Say, you come through Cottonwood, Bonner. You must be heading south, huh?
That's right, I am.
Well, looks like we hit it lucky, Kit. That is, if you don't mind us riding with you.
Well, it's all right with me. Come along. But you sure are going a long way just playing a hunch. It's over a day's travel here through the pass, and you have no assurance that the fellas you're looking for took this trail.
Yeah, we know that, Vance. But for $1,500, we can spare the time. That's the reward they're offering.
$1,500. That's worth taking some time for.
If the posse catches them, that money will be split 40 ways to breakfast. But if we catch them, see what I mean?
Sure. You split it 2 ways.
3, if you're along, Vance. That's $500 apiece.
I'm afraid I can't count that high.
Then you'll take us through the pass.
Sure, since I'm traveling south anyway.
All right, let's get started.
You bring up your horses, and I'll straighten out my gear. wasn't much of a trail, just a little rocky path that wound up the mountain. It was hard riding, too. I had to hand it to the Springer brothers, though. They never complained. I'd taken this route before, so I knew what to expect. But it was all new to them.
What are we stopping for?
Give the horses some rest. They need it. I'm afraid you fellas are in for a bit of a disappointment.
Oh, about what?
About that $1,500. Hasn't been anybody along this way for 2-3 days. Not since it rained, anyway.
Oh, well, men on the run, they wouldn't leave tracks if they didn't have to, and they wouldn't have to here. They could go around, you know.
Yeah, have you seen any tracks?
I've been so busy riding, I haven't had time to look.
Me neither.
Well, I've been doing enough looking for the three of us.
Well, maybe somehow they got ahead of us.
In that case, there wouldn't be much sense in you fellas going on, would there?
What do you think, Lex?
I'd sure hate to turn back now.
Well, why don't you ride up the trail and look for tracks, and I'll climb up here and look back where we've been, huh?
Right.
While you're gone, I'll make us a pot of coffee.
It's too hot for coffee. Don't light a fire.
Oh, it won't take a minute.
I said don't light a fire. I mean, it's just that it's too hot.
I see. Well, maybe you're right. For a big man, you move awful quiet, kid.
I didn't know you were asleep. I didn't mean to wake you. I just wanted to borrow some of that water.
Sure. Help yourself.
Thanks.
You spot anything from up there?
No, not a soul. Did you pick up any tracks?
Oh, there's nothing but rocks up ahead. Oh, I could use some of that. Sure is hot.
You think this is bad? There's about 10 miles up ahead that's nothing but rocks and rattlesnakes.
Well, does it get better after that?
Sure. But by that time, a man's too beat to care. If I were you boys, I'd turn back to Cottonwood.
Well, we've come this far. We might as well go the rest of the way.
Suit yourself. That's a nice-looking belt you're wearing.
Huh?
That belt. I don't think I ever saw one like it. Is it gold?
Oh, yeah. Mex. Got it in Nogales.
Thought you fellas said you were from up north.
Well, we drift a lot. You know, jobs ain't easy to find.
Oh. Sure is a nice belt. Too bad you got it all spotted up there.
Spotted up?
Yeah, looks like dried blood.
That's what it is, all right. I cut my wrist a few days back. Bled all over myself. I'll probably have a heck of a time getting that thing clean.
Yeah, blood stains are apt to be kind of permanent. Too bad. Nice buckle.
Well, if we're going, we'd better get started.
Yeah, that's right.
Looks like there's 3 of them now. They must have picked up someone on the trail.
Well, for his sake, I hope he's a friend of the Springer boys.
Why did you tell him that cock and bull story about your wrist? He keeps trying to get a look at your hand.
Well, I had to tell him something.
Well, keep your paws out of sight. Are you still looking for tracks?
No, I'm looking for the trail.
I thought you knew your way around here.
I thought so, too.
Well, we're never going to catch them at this rate.
You're the fellas trying to make the 1,500, not me. Hey, Lex, you happen to have a knife? I gotta make a hole in the cinch.
Sure. Yeah, looks like it's fixing to rain.
It's probably raining down there already.
If it does, we'll never find those tracks. The rain will cover them.
The only tracks on this trail they're gonna cover will be ours. We better be getting on. Oh. I almost forgot to give you your knife back. Say, you're bleeding again.
Yeah? Dang thing keeps breaking open.
Yeah.
I was easy in my mind again for the first time in hours, not afraid to turn my back on them anymore. I guess they were what they seemed to be, two harebrained saddle tramps down on their luck, chasing a rainbow.
Doc, which way would you go? Not over the South Pass, that's for certain sure. Too tough a trail. Longer to the border that way, but a lot faster, safer, and easier to follow.
You're forgetting one thing. The Springer boys don't know this country.
We're both forgetting something. They picked somebody up along the way. That somebody couldn't know where he was going.
Right. Let's take the South Pass.
Lay off. You want him to get suspicious again?
If he does, it'll be the last time. We don't need him anymore. He's taken us far enough.
He still hasn't said which way the pass is or how far.
Get him to say it. We ought to be moving on and fast.
Now, you think it's so easy, you get him to say it yourself. Moon ought to be out pretty soon.
About an hour or so.
Think it'll give out much light?
Maybe.
Up to see by?
See what?
Well, you said we were almost through the pass.
We still got some ways to go.
Well, why did we stop here? The horses could have felt their way.
Simmer down, kid. You're not going to find those men you were looking for. Posse probably caught them hours ago.
Maybe. And maybe not. I'm still playing my hunch.
Any towns up ahead, Bonner?
English Creek, if you want to call that a town.
People live there, don't they?
Hmm.
That case, maybe somebody's seen those men we're chasing.
Well, we'll find out tomorrow morning. Look, if you fellas are so anxious, why don't you go on ahead? I'll tell you the trail. The trail's pretty good from here to the timberline. You get to the timberline, cross a patch of shale, about 100 yards or so. Then you take a sharp left-hand turn and go straight up. There's a cairn, a pile of stones there to mark the place. Don't miss it, you'll wind up at the foot of a cliff. And at the top of the ridge, you go a couple miles further, and it should be smooth sailing. That is, if you're still in one piece.
Well, Vince, you've sold us.
On what?
About waiting until daylight.
You sure changed your mind fast, but you're smart.
Well, now, look, we're going to shove off early. Now that we know the way, there's no reason for you to get over the chickens, unless you just want to.
That's all right with me. I'm in no hurry.
Well, you'll still come in for the $500, though, as soon as we collect.
Don't mind about that. Like I said, I was going south anyway. It's kind of funny you fellows never went through South Pass before.
What's so funny about it?
Well, you were telling me about all that drifting around.
Never been down this way before.
By the way, who is this sheriff of Cottonwood?
Now, what difference does that make?
I was just trying to remember.
We don't remember his name, Bonner. There wasn't time for any formal knockdown. Folks just called him sheriff.
Well, if I'm still asleep when you boys take off, so long and good luck.
Thanks.
As far as I could tell, they hadn't been lying to me. A man could join up with the posse and not find out the sheriff's name. And I guess a man could ride himself half to death on the off chance of earning a $1,500 reward, if he had a mind to. Of course, Kit's hunch about those outlaws using South Pass for a getaway hadn't worked out. Or had it? Into you. You had your chance. He was asleep. Why couldn't you do it?
Well, he may have been asleep, but I could see his gun belt sticking out from under the blanket.
Could see his gun belt. You mean you were just looking for an out, any kind of out? Well, not me.
Look, let's go and leave him be. He can be plenty of trouble.
You gone clear yellow or something? He knows our names, what we look like. How long before he figures we were $1,500, alive or dead?
You had to go and kill that old man. He only had a few more years to live, and you had to go and kill him.
All those years of hard times, they sure turned you soft, didn't they, brother? Soft and clear yellow.
You got him! Kid! 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 You live, Vince, so stop fussing. What are you doing way out here, Doc?
You just stay put till I finish here. Ain't no law saying a doctor can't go along with a posse, is there? Figured somebody was going to get shot, only I didn't count on it being you.
Neither did I. I hit one of them. Missed the other, I think.
You missed him all right, but you sure scared daylights out of his horse. That critter come down the trail like heck wouldn't have it. When we tried to head him off by firing a shot at him, he went over the cliff. Springer tried to jump clear, but he couldn't seem to tear himself loose from the saddle.
This is why. He got hooked over the saddle horn. The horse drug him down the side of the mountain. He was dead before we could get to him. The young one killed the old man for this when they held up the stagecoach. Yeah, I talked to the widow. She gave it to him for their 50th wedding anniversary.
Bonner, you're $1,500 richer.
Gold plate. Worth maybe $2, $3. 50 years. Sheriff, would you send that reward money to the old man's widow? Quiet city. Well, not so quiet today. I remember just a few years back when it was the hottest tempered town in the whole valley. Guess that's all gone now. Only excitement left appears to be a couple of noisy drunks.
Oh, wait. Get you right in, that song. Yeah, it does. You boys have had it. No,
Ain't gonna be no nonsense in this town, not so long as I'm sheriff here.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Now, we just haven't lost fun. What is it? I know that, John
And if there's a sound out of either one of you, I'll crease your skulls permanent.
Well, what can I do for...
My golly. Vince Bonner.
Heck, Partridge.
Why, you old rustler, you. Never thought I'd see you again. How many years it been? 5, 6?
Long haul. And you're still the sheriff of Quiet City.
I'm sure I am. Why? Did it surprise you?
No, not at all. Wouldn't be the same without you. Sheriff Partridge in Quiet City.
I admit it's been a long time. 37 years. Well, what brings you to these parts, Vint?
Little favor for Tim Parker. You remember him?
Tim? Oh, sure. What's he got into?
Among other things, a big hunk of acreage down this way. He asked me to come down and sit on it till he got here. Out toward Fulton.
Oh, Fulton. That's farmland. That's all you ever see around here now, Vint. Nothing but farms.
Times change. This town's changed, too.
Main Street's 4 blocks longer, and houses run all the way down to the creek. There's a lot of people for one man to keep towing the mark.
When's the last time he had a shooting here?
What difference does it make when the last time was? Point is, next time it'd be 5 minutes from now if I didn't walk up and down the streets all day and half the night, keeping the peace like I always done.
Well, how long is it?
Oh, how do I know? I don't put 'em on the calendar. You know as well as I do that if I walked out of here without my gun on, those varmints would start killing each other and me before I could even get that door closed.
Now, heck.
Don't you heck me. You been talking to Buzz or somebody?
Buzz? I've only been in town 20 minutes. He must be grown up by now.
He'll be 25 in November, but he won't be around here much longer. He's clearing out. He's going east.
How far east?
Plenty far east. You know what he said? He told me to take my sheriff's badge and put it in my hat. Buzz did? What do you think of that? All these years I've been keeping peace in this town, figuring that he'd go on keeping it after I was gone. And he decides to run out on me and become a lawyer.
A lawyer?
You know, how do you like that? A lawyer when he could be sheriff after me just for the asking. I can't even talk to him anymore.
Somebody said he'd seen you ride into town, Mr. Bonner. It's good to see you again.
Buzz, holy smoke, boy, you're bigger than me.
He's bigger than his britches. You're all ready to walk out on me. Packed up and waiting on the stage.
Pop, I'm not walking out on you.
Then what do you call what you're doing?
You know what I'm doing. I've explained. tried to, anyhow. Hasn't been a shooting here in over 2 years.
2 years?
Because I put the fear of the law in them. Because there ain't a man in this town don't know he's got me to answer to if he breaks the law. That's why there ain't been no shooting.
Well, that's not so, Pa. Because the people here have changed.
Changed? Seems that's all I've been hearing the last few weeks. What do you know about people? What people you ever seen except the ones right here in Quiet City?
Well, they're the ones who've changed. Pa, the country's growing up, and I want to grow with it.
Go on. Go east, be a lawyer. And come back, hang up your shingle, I'll even give you a room. But do you know who your clients will be? They'll be bums out of my jail. Bums I put in there for shooting other bums. And you'll see.
If you think you can still remember how to discharge them firearms of yours, get your things together and come with me.
What are you talking about, Doc?
Out to Jace Norton's place. His hand just rode into town spouting dust a mile high.
What happened to Jace?
He's been shot.
Shot?
The hand says Joe Clapper done it. Says Jace is in pretty bad shape. I'm heading out there now. You want to come along with me in the rig or go on ahead?
Changed, have they? Respecting the law, are they? Well, go on. Go east and learn to be a lawyer. Maybe if you learn fast enough, you can take on Joe Clapper for your first client. So this is how the country's grown up, huh? Oh, I gotta laugh at you two. Honest, I gotta laugh. Well, come on, Doc. I'll pace you out there.
You see how he is, Mr. Bonner? He won't listen. He won't give an inch. He'd rather there was still shooting and killing going on here in Quiet City. You know that?
You put that a little strong, Buzz.
Well, it's true. As long as people break the law, there's some use for him. The minute they begin abiding by it, he's not needed anymore. And don't you think he knows that? What's a man gonna do when he's not needed anymore?
That's a question we all have to answer for ourselves sooner or later. Say, didn't Norton used to have a place over by Tim Parker's uncle?
Well, he still has.
You reckon your father'd take it amiss if I rode over and offered to help?
I don't know, Mr. Bonner. I couldn't tell. You just saw how he is.
I'll see you later, Bud.
Yeah.
Yes, sir? My name's Bonner. I came by to recognize you, Mr. Bonner. Seen you around these parts some time back. I'm Abe Norton, Jace's brother. Oh. How is Jace? Dead. Leaving a wife and youngster and only a hardscrabble farm to work. Dead over an argument over a fence and a couple of cows. Mighty high price to pay for a couple of loose boards come off a fence, wouldn't you say, Mr. Bonner? Which way did Sheriff Partridge go? North. He figured Joe might be making for that old abandoned trading post up there. I'll ride over and see if there's anything I can do. What can you do, Mr. Bonner? Repair the broken fence? It's a little bit late for that.
Joe Clapper, you come out. This is Sheriff Partridge.
Me, Hank. Right behind you. Come on over, Vin. Keep low. I came by Jace's place.
Did you talk to Abe?
Yeah, I talked to him. You know what Clapper's packing?
Nothing but a 6-gun. Anybody there besides Abe?
No, I didn't see anyone.
Oh, I reckon he ain't had much time yet.
Time?
Everybody hereabouts like Jace. Nobody much cares of this Joe Clapper. Wouldn't take Abe half an hour to round up a dozen or more.
What for?
Necktie party?
You don't mean that.
Oh, Don't I? Hold it. Hold it, Vin. Joe Clapper, I know where you're at. I know what you're packing. You don't stand a chance.
You want to close in?
No, he's still got some slugs left.
Well, the sooner he's out, the sooner we can take him.
All right, Vin. You go on around. I'll keep you covered.
On my way. Don't move. That means don't turn around or anything.
Who are you?
That's Bonner.
Bonner? What are you doing in these parts?
The main thing I'm doing right now is disarming you. Throw your gun away. Come on in, Heck.
Well, I guess it's all finished now.
That's just what it is, mister. Finished.
Drop your gun. Keep your hands in the air.
But I always gave him my gun.
Shut up! I don't want any moves or fast talk from you. Now, turn around. Turn around slow. Turn around, I said!
But he's already disarmed, Heck.
All right, then. I'll take over from here. Now, put your hands behind your back.
But, Sheriff, I'm coming in peaceable.
No, hear what I said? Hands behind your back. All right, Vint, tie him up.
Do you think you need to?
All right, I'll do it myself. Don't you move, mister. Not a move, you hear me? Vint, grab up his gear. We gotta get out of here fast. This way, Vint.
Aren't you going to take him into Quiet City?
I said this way. We'll take the Creek Road, cross her behind the jailhouse and sneak him in the back. By now, Abe Norton has a man behind every tree along that road.
All right, Heck.
Give me your keys. Get that street door bolted and barred. Quick now. Come on. Now you get in there and keep quiet. Nothing's gonna happen to you, understand? Get in. You hear me say bolt that door? Sure. Reckon you'll have to stand with me a little longer, Vint.
What are you getting those for?
Protect our prisoner from mob action.
Heck, don't go imagining things.
I ain't imagining anything, Vint. I know this town. You should by now. Here, how about you, Mr. Lawyer?
Do you mind telling me what all this is about?
What do you think it's about?
Lynch mob. Your pa thinks Norton's brother might be...
Think? I know. I know Abe, and I know what the people of this town felt about Jace. And I know what they feel about that no-good critter in there, too. And they're probably gathering together in the street right now, planning to break in here and take him away.
When was the last time you had a lynching in this town?
I don't care about the last time or the next time. There's not going to be a lynching here as long as I'm sheriff. Now, will you two stop arguing, and will you cover the back door? Buzz and I'll cover the front one. I got enough ammunition till Judge Wilson comes here on his circuit to cover them.
Oh, you're making this whole thing up. You haven't heard anyone say anything about a lynching.
Say anything? Why, you young fool, do you expect them to come in here and make an announcement? Don't you think I've been sheriff here long enough to know lynch fever when I see it?
Just what did you see, Heck?
I saw plenty. And I heard plenty, too.
Well, what? What's the harm in telling us, Pa?
I ain't a witness for your cross-examining, Mr. Lawyer.
But I was only asking, Pa.
I heard you asking. And you're asking an awful lot for a young squirt.
Mr. Bonner, you were out with him. Did you hear anyone say anything about a lynching?
You trying to make a liar out of your pa? Is that what you're trying to do? You flea-bitten young whippersnapper? What are you aiming to do, asking him whether I'm saying the truth? Why, you're still growing up and you're ready to go east, but I'm your pa, and I can whale the tar out of you any time I got the mind to. Now you keep your mouth shut until you're told to say something. Now take this gun and try to do something useful. Where are you going?
Out of here. For good.
For good is right. All right, then. I reckon you and me'll have to hold them off alone. You take the back, and I'll take the front. Are you walking out on me, too?
Heck, come here a minute.
Huh?
Come here. You see any lynch mob out there?
What do you call that?
What?
That?
Those two youngsters playing marbles? Those boys?
Youngsters. Boys. The sun finally get you, Vin? What do you call that, a church dinner or something? No lynch mob, huh? I'll show you. Getting off the streets. I said getting off the streets. Every one of you. I aim to see you men dispersed and this street deserted by the time I count 3.
Mr. Partridge,
There'll be 1 or 2 of you lying dead on the ground. Now get off the streets.
Heck, for Pete's sake.
I know what you're after, Ed. I know why you come riding after me. You said you saw Jace. You said you talked to Abe. You joined up with him, didn't you, against me?
Heck, you know that's not true.
That's why you wanted us to ride down Main Street knowing that Abe was there with them, lynch ropes on their saddle horns. But you won't get him, Vin. None of you here will get him. Hear me now? I'm talking loud. I'm talking plain. You can understand me, can't you? None of you here will get Joe Clapper without killing me first. That's what I said. You'll have to kill me first. And if you try it, some of you won't be alive any longer than I will. I represent the law here, and I aim to uphold the law no matter what.
Pa, what are you doing?
Don't you come at me, Buzz. If you join them lynchers, Factor, my son won't help you one bit.
Hold it, Buzz. Don't get too close.
Any one of you think I still ain't sheriff around here? Let him take 1 step closer. Let him put out a hand to take Joe Clapper.
Nobody wants Clapper. Don't you see that?
I'm warning you, Vin. I'm warning all of you. Who was it said you didn't need a sheriff around here?
He's shooting at me. All of us, his own people. What's wrong with him?
That's hard to say, Buzz. Your dad was a tower of strength in the old days when he was needed. Nobody appreciates the idea of being thrown on the scrap heap, worn out, useless.
What do we do, Mr. Bonner?
I don't like the idea of him being alone. I'm going around back.
I'm going with you.
Come on.
You come with me. I'll go too, Sheriff. You stay put.
Now, just a moment. I want to see the Honorable Judge McGonagall. He's my lawyer.
What are you doing now? You want to get lynched? I want to keep you where I can see you all the time.
Stay on the line of fire, Buzz. I'm going in. I got you covered. Drop the rifle. I don't want to have to shoot, Heck.
That's the only way you'll get him, Vin.
Drop the rifle.
You'll have to kill me. Kill me, or get out of here, or get killed yourself. Now, Vin. Right now.
He means it, Vint. Look at him. Look at his eyes.
Get out of here, Buzz.
He shot at me once today. He'll shoot at anybody.
Move. I'm only giving you another minute.
You better listen to him, Vint. He doesn't know what he's doing anymore.
I think he does. He's been the sheriff here a long, long time. Go ahead, Heck. Pull that trigger if you think you can.
Why did you have to show up? It's all your fault. You had to come to Quiet City and kill everything for me. When you rode into town this morning, I was still sheriff. I was still a man. And now, I'm nothing. Nobody.
That's not true, Heck. You're still the sheriff here.
Sheriff? When lynch mobs are gathering outside with ropes in their hands and killing in their hearts, you call that being a sheriff?
That's not a lynch mob out there. And this is the first killing in over 2 years. Those people don't want Clamper. They're perfectly willing for him to stand trial.
And you believe that too, son?
It's true, Pa. It's not a mob out there. It couldn't be. You've made the law and the office of the sheriff in this town ideals we all look up to.
Well, why are you running out on it?
I'm not running out, Pa. It's just that there's no longer any need.
No need? Well, who'll be there to keep the peace and uphold the law?
The people out there. They'll uphold the law by respecting it. Pop, you've done your job. Give the rest of us a chance to live up to it and finish it for you.
I guess I've served my time. 37 years. That's long enough for a job to outwear any man. Especially an old codger who sees things that aren't there. And who hears voices that exist only in his head.
That can happen to a lot of people.
But I ain't dead, Vin. What are you supposed to do when the job's all done, but you keep on living?
You're still sheriff. Till Buzz gets back, steps into your boots.
Mr. Bonner? I mean the sheriff in there. Is he going to be all right?
I think so.
He's been sheriff of Quiet City for almost 40 years. We wouldn't know what to do without him.
Now, what kind of a name is that for a town? Quiet City. Just doesn't sound reasonable somehow.
Well, the town council's open for suggestions, sir.
Why don't you call it Partridge?
Partridge?
Turn it over in your mind. For close to 6 months, I'd been working at the Lonely Oak Ranch. lending my friend Jim Blackwell a hand. I don't generally stay in one place that long, but Jim had been sick. Real sick.
Afternoon, Ben.
Hi, Sheriff.
How have you been? Hardly ever see you in town anymore.
Well, I don't get to town much since the old man's been under the weather.
Oh, yeah. How's old Jim feeling?
No better. And the doctor says he's not going to get any better.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Say, any sign of the Sacramento stage yet?
No, but ought to be along any minute. Why?
Jim Blackwell's daughter is on it.
Vint, what are you talking about? Jim doesn't have any family.
He did have a while back. Well, it was a long time ago when Jim was just a ranch hand. Only his wife didn't like ranches, so one day she packed up, took the youngster, and lit out for Sacramento.
How much do you figure old Blackwell is worth now?
He's got a fine herd of cattle, nice spread, and money in the bank.
Well, there's the stage.
Not much of a town, is it?
Not after a state capital.
Maybe you'll let me try and make it more interesting for you.
Now, that's an interesting offer. But someone's coming in to meet me, Mr. Bonner.
Miss Blackwell? I'm Vint Bonner.
Oh? Well, how do you do?
Ah, I see you're in good hands. I'll say good day, Miss Blackwell.
Is he a friend of yours?
We met on the stagecoach.
I'll get you things.
How far is it to the ranch?
A mile and a half or so.
It's a quiet little town, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. You weren't looking for excitement, were you?
No, Mr. Bonner. I wasn't looking for excitement. You're, my father's foreman, aren't you?
I've been working for him for a while.
For the last 6 months.
That's right. How did you know?
He wrote me about you. How is he? Any change?
No change. The doctor says he has a few more days.
I see.
I'll help you in the wagon. I was wondering when you're going to get around to asking about him.
I think that's being pretty hateful, Mr. Bonner.
Miss Blackwell, Jim's a friend of mine from a long time back. I just think he ought to know for certain who's coming to see him.
I'm his daughter.
So you said in the letter. But for 20 years, you didn't show much sign of it.
I didn't know where he was.
But now you know.
Look, I didn't come all the way up here to listen to a cowhand insult me.
I'm not trying to insult anyone. I'm just being cautious.
Well, look, I'm Mary Blackwell, a legal heir, and I can prove it. And don't give me any trouble. You'd be surprised how well I can take care of myself.
Jim.
You took long enough to get back.
I'm sorry, Jim.
But where is she? Did she get here? Is she? Oh. You look a lot like your ma. 20 years I had to wait to see you. 20 years.
I have a picture of my mother. Would you like to see it?
Oh, yes.
It was taken just before she died.
Yeah, that's Janie. She was a fine-looking woman. Oh, Mary, Mary. I'm sorry about all those years.
I know. But we're together now.
Oh, I was sure glad to get your letter. I've been a lonely man, Mary.
I tried to find you before. I didn't know you'd settled down. Done so well.
Yes. We've got a lot to talk over, ain't we?
Yes.
Not much time to do it.
Oh. Now, don't talk that way.
Oh, but it's true. You don't have to get soft with me. I'm a tough, hard old man, Mary. Not easy to get along with at all. Your ma found that out.
Now, don't. Patron, you must rest. Later you will talk.
Yeah. I'm all right. I'm all right.
I owe you an apology.
Yes, I guess you do.
I won't give you any more trouble. Hi, Sam. I think I'll take a drink.
Hello. Mr. Bonner.
I thought you were with Jim.
He fell asleep. So I saddled a horse and came on in.
Your place is out at the ranch right now.
You want me to stay there all the time? I talked to him all afternoon.
Bonner, the young lady and I are having a peaceable talk. Name's Steve Colby.
I know you, Colby. You're going home.
Listen, you big ox, you don't run my life, understand?
You're going home.
Hey!
Look, I said she's... I wouldn't do that.
Look, Bonner, maybe you can boss those ranch hands around, but not me.
Keep your voice down.
I can take care of myself.
You're sure doing a great job of it. The first man you pick up with is a cheap outlaw that spent half his life in jail.
Steve Colby!
Now you go on upstairs and you get some sleep.
Lint, that you? Come in here.
Good night.
Jim, you know the doctor said you shouldn't smoke these.
Never mind the doctor. You tend to your own health. What's all the ruckus? You having trouble with that girl?
Well, she's a little tough, kind of headstrong. She's your daughter for sure.
My daughter. Is she the only girl that got off that stage this morning?
Why?
Why? Why, you thick-headed cowpoke. That's the wrong girl.
Are you sure?
Oh, she had me fooled for a while. But I've talked to her a lot more since. I've tripped her up on at least a dozen things, and she didn't even know it.
But the locket she showed you, that was a picture of your wife, wasn't it?
You're dang right it was, and that's what I'm worried about. How that girl come to get it, and what's she up to?
Jim, it's been a long time. She was just a child when you saw her last. You could be mistaken.
Who's mistaken? I tell you, that's the wrong girl. Now look at here. You find out who she is. Oh, quiet down. Go on, son. Go on now. You find out who that girl is. Never get anything done here unless I do it myself.
In spite of what Jim had told me, the next morning I could tell it wasn't going to be easy to get at the truth. I tried to talk to the girl, but she was always busy. Busy being helpful. Jim tried to get something out of her, but she spent the whole day acting like a loving daughter. By the time I'd finished working around the ranch, she'd even decided to let up on me.
Mr. Bonner? Vint? Well, can't I call you Vint?
Sure.
I want to talk to you. You've been acting so strange today. So is my father. Could you tell me what it's all about?
We can talk later.
If you'd rather, but there seems so little time left, and not like my father to love me. If he can. You still don't trust me, do you? I don't want you to be cold toward me or distant. Not either of you. Can't you stay and talk?
I better go see Jim. How do you feel, Jim?
How do you think I feel?
Jim, are you still sure about that girl?
Yeah, surer than ever.
But she seems straight enough, and she even seems fond of you.
Fond of me? Well, anybody'd be fond of me to get this ranch. And I ain't very easy to get fond of. She ain't the right kind of girl. My wife was a lady, and her daughter'd be a lady. This one ain't no lady. Not clean through. Can't you tell?
Well, I thought she was a little strange, but...
She don't know enough of the facts, Bint, about Janie and about me.
Well, it's a long time, Jim. What facts could she know?
I used to hear from Janie. She'd write and tell me how things were going and what a fine town Sacramento was. Yeah. And then I got one letter. Said she'd met a man. Said she'd like to be set free.
Who was he?
Oh, an important lawyer. You're going to be a big man in the legislature one day. And the last I ever heard from her was telling what a fine wedding they had. That's why I didn't try to get in touch with them again. I wanted her to be happy.
You shouldn't have lost touch with your daughter, Jim.
Oh, she had a lot more than I could give her. Stepfather in line to be governor, maybe. But Vint, this girl didn't know a thing about any of that. I'm worried. I'm afraid something's happened to my Mary.
Easy, Jim.
This woman has come here to get my money. And that money belongs to my Mary, not to that little pig.
You all right?
Yeah. Look, son, you got to find out the truth for me. How she knows what she does know, and how she got that picture.
All right, Jim.
And hurry. Yes, I guess you better hurry.
Miss Blackwell, you out here?
Right here, Vint.
I want to talk to you.
You stay right here. I'll come back as soon as I can. What is it? Is he?
He's just about the same. Who are you?
Who am I?
A man should know his own family. Jim Blackwell says you're no part of his.
So that's what's been eating him. And you too.
You're wasting my time. Who put you up to this?
Don't push her around, Bonner. Everything she told you is true. Now leave her alone.
Colby, from what I've heard of you, you're just the kind to try and swindle a dying old man.
It's not a swindle. She is Blackwell's daughter.
Why is it so hard for you to understand that? Because I'm not what you expected me to be. You want the truth. This is it. I hate every bone in my father's body. And I'm here to tell him so.
Then you are his daughter.
Oh, you bet your sweet life I am. His only kin, and before he dies, he's going to know it. What's so helpless about Jim Blackwell? To tell me that. All he's done for the last 20 years is get meaner and richer. The only thought he ever gave to his family was when he was on his dying bed, and I wrote to him.
But you didn't meet him. You had your stepfather to take care of you.
I never had any stepfather.
But Jim said your mother married a lawyer, a man who could have been governor of the state.
Governor of the state? Oh, Steve!
Take it easy, Mary. Janie Blackwell never married again. She died while working in a Sacramento saloon.
But the letters...
I don't know anything about what she wrote him. Maybe she was too proud to tell him the truth, but I'm not. My mother worked in a saloon, and she died in a saloon. That's all the Sacramento she ever knew. That's all I ever knew.
Satisfied, Mr. Bonner?
Colby, go on home.
What for? I'm the one who found Mary's father living here. It's as much my business as anybody's.
I said go on home.
Go on, Steve. I'll see you later.
Make sure you get what's coming to you. It's a lot of money, Mary. Don't get cut out of it.
Well, you still think Jim Blackwell needs protection, Mr. Bonner?
Mary, go upstairs.
Oh, no. Not until I tell him exactly what I told you.
You can't do that.
No? Well, just why do you think I came to this miserable town? Senor, the patron asked for you. He is very bad.
I'll be right with you.
Well, I'm going in there with you.
No, you're not. The reason he never got in touch with you is he believed those letters.
Senor!
He's been a lonely man.
Did you talk to her?
Yeah, Jim, I talked to her.
Well, what'd you find out?
Nothing for you to worry about,
Don't
Jim.
hedge with me, you big clodhead. Get her in here.
I'm here.
Come in here. We got some talking to do. Sit down.
You feel all right?
No, I'm weak. I'm old and weak, and I'll give out. But I can still talk a little.
I'll bet you can.
Oh, he told you, didn't he? I can see it in your eyes. He told you that I'm onto you.
Yes.
You ought to be proud of yourself, leading me on to believe that you ain't no daughter of mine. Where are you?
Jim, wait a minute.
I ain't got time to wait. My daughter was a lady. You ain't no lady. You're nothing but a fake.
You're right, Mr. Blackwell. I'm not your daughter.
Didn't you hear that?
It's true. I came here to trick you and to take your money.
How'd you know so much about me? Where'd you get that picture?
No. Oh, well, I knew your daughter. Yeah, she's a very good friend of mine. She gave it to me.
Well, then, you can give it to me, then. You've got no right to have it. You got no right to touch it. Get it off your neck. Where'd you know my Mary?
In Sacramento. She was a wonderful girl.
I bet there was nothing hard about her eyes.
That's right. She was a lady.
That's a fact. Do you know my Janie, too?
Yes, I knew your Janie, too. They were both wonderful people. Oh, you know the man that Janie married? Well, he was always very kind to them, to both of them. He was a very important lawyer.
Yes, that's right. She wrote and told me.
Then after Janie died, why, he took Mary to Europe, I think. Yeah, they're over there somewhere now, still living.
That's very far away. Well, if you hear from her, write her about me, will you?
No, sure.
And Vint, you see that my Mary gets my money.
Your daughter will get your money, Jim.
Yeah. You're not a very smart young woman, are you? To try to steal from an old man.
No, I guess you're right.
You didn't fool me. Not for long. So I guess I can forgive you.
Well, thank you.
Mary.
I've got to get out of here. Will you drive me into town, Vin?
That was a fine thing you did. It took a lot of courage.
I only told him what he wanted to hear, that's all. I'll get my things.
You could stay a while. It's your home.
Oh, no. Thank you, Vin, but there's a man waiting for me. The kind of man that I'm used to.
I'll get the buck, boy.
Mary. It fell from his hand.
Fletcherville wasn't any gay Paris or anything, but coming off the range, it was buildings and people. Things I'd begun to miss. It was other things, too. Wanted. Dead or alive, Billy Sparks, for murder and mayhem. Well, guess that came along with the town, along with buildings and people.
Get out of here!
Tough, aren't you? Pushing a woman around, that takes some real men.
You're not wanted around this town, Mrs. Sparks. It's time you understood that.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Sparks, but you stay away. All you bring is trouble. Your own Paul won't lift a hand to help you. I can't help you no more, Mrs. Sparks. I can't help you no more either.
You're big, brave men, when all you have to fight are women and boys.
Helen Bricker. You do remember me, don't you?
Ben Bonner.
That's right.
Thanks for speaking to me, Ben.
Thanks for speaking. As bad as all that?
You just saw. Good citizens of Fletcherville don't waste words on Billy Sparks' wife. They won't like the idea of you talking to me either.
You don't think I'd let that bother me, do you?
Maybe it should. You just saw what they did to poor Tommy.
Where are you living now?
Cabin out at the end of town. Was the one my father built when I was a girl, remember?
By the way, how is Strad?
That was him you just saw right off on the horse. It's the first time I've seen him myself since I came back to Fletcherville. He sent word that I could use the cabin. No one was living there anyway. But I wasn't to come near his home or see him for as long as I live. Get up.
Ben Bonner, aren't you?
That's right.
You a friend of Helen's?
I know the Bricker family.
You know Billy Sparks?
I've heard of him. You'd be Dave Fletcher's son.
I was. Before Billy Sparks killed him. Any news yet?
Not yet, Mr. Fletcher.
Jim, what's going on?
Come on inside, man.
Dave Fletcher built this town, Vent. Ain't a man, woman, or child in Fletcherville who isn't beholden to him. Billy Sparks shot him down in cold blood.
That explains the poster.
That was over a year ago. Billy held up his bank, that's when it happened. Well, they just caught him a couple of months ago in Junction City. That's where Sheriff Ritter is.
When's the hanging supposed to take place?
This week sometime. The date ain't certain yet. See if you got any mail. No mail, Vince, sorry.
I didn't really expect any. Helen Bricker. I hardly recognized her. And I didn't know her father.
Well, Strad ain't never really been the same. Not since she married Billy. Strad disowned her. That's all there is left of the Brickers, just a father and a daughter. Not one word spoken between them in 7 years.
That's too bad. Well, I'm going to be in town a couple of days. I'll drop by later for my mail.
Now, you be careful, Vent. If I was you, I wouldn't have nothing to do with her. Everyone in this town is dead set against her.
Fletcherville's her home. I guess she's got a right to come back to it.
Fella that put this heel on just didn't know his trade. Ain't no reason for a nail to go through on the inside there if the heel was put on proper. Who made these boots for you anyway, Vint?
Let me see. Come to think about it, I think you did.
Me? You dang well know I didn't. I know my own work. I never turned out a pair of boots like that even when I was apprenticed.
Oh, we can soon find out. Look on the inside of the heel. I think your mark's there.
Hmm? Well, I'll be. How'd that ever get inside there?
Just got the word, Seth. Looks like they're not going to wait very much longer. They're going to string him up today.
Today?
Yeah. What's the matter? You don't look too happy.
What time today?
Sundown. The sheriff's staying over to claim the body for the next of kin. You know who that means. We're meeting out at Joel Fletcher's half hour before sundown.
Why?
You know why. Same time the state's getting rid of one of the Sparks, we'll be getting rid of the other.
How do you plan to do that?
Huh?
How are you going to get rid of the other Sparks?
We figure on letting Joel Fletcher handle that. It's his right. It was his paw Billy Sparks killed.
Seems to me this town's got a good case of lynch fever.
Seems like it's the town's business. None of yours, mister.
Don't get your quills up, Vint. There's just some things you can't do nothing about.
There's some things that need doing something about.
You don't understand, Vint. You're a rolling stone. Me, I'm in business in Fletcherville. So's Jim Pincher. The whole town is Fletcher built and run. I do like Joel tells me and I get along. People ain't going to forget Dave Fletcher. Even Strad Bricker won't lift a hand for his daughter.
Seems to me I remember once that Joel and Helen Bricker were going to be married.
Yes, that was a long time ago. Two families had it kind of figured that way. Broke her paw's heart she didn't marry Joel. Dave Fletcher saved Strad's ranch once, and he stood the game before closing, too. Billy Sparks isn't worth a hair of Dave Fletcher.
Well, I'll be back to those boots later.
Vint, we all know you. It ain't a matter of you fighting for Helen. It's who you're fighting against. It's more than Joel. More than just one man. It's a whole town.
Seth, you stick to your last, and I'll stick to mine.
Suppose you heard the news, Barner. They're hanging Billy Sparks this afternoon.
I heard something else I didn't like the sound of.
Suppose you just mind your own business.
I should think a whole town against one woman would be anybody's business.
You're not foolish enough to think there's anything you can do about it.
I don't know. But I might be foolish enough to try. You like to play with that thing, don't you?
I know how to use it, too. You might remember that.
I'll remember.
That's good. And while you're remembering, there's just one other thing. Stay away from Helen Bricker.
Here's something for you, too. I don't do business in this town. That's one advantage of being a rolling stone. Helen, you're still young. You could go someplace else, start all over again. You've got your whole life ahead of you. Bitterness and false pride do terrible things to a person.
I'm Strad Bricker's daughter. I can fight just as hard and last as long as he can.
Fight what? And for what? And in the end, what do you gain?
What do I gain? The knowledge that I'm just as strong or stronger than they are.
Oh, you'll have that all right. You'll have that. And then you'll have the battle scars to go with it. All of a sudden you'll be old and lonely, like your father.
There's only one thing sadder than a lonely old man.
Vin, I know what you're trying to do. When I'm ready to change my mind, I'll change it. This is my home. I was born here, and I'm going to stay.
All right. Helen. I didn't want to tell you this. They're hanging your husband today at sundown. And at the same time they're hanging him, your neighbors are planning something for you. I don't know what. I rode out to see Stradbreaker. I didn't know what to expect or just what I would say to him. Maybe Joe Fletcher was right. Maybe I was being a little foolish. But I didn't like him saying it. Live in the same town and don't see each other?
Vint, if you've come here to try to fix things up between us, you're wasting your time.
Well, I know it's none of my business.
I told her he was no good before she married him. I told her, but she knew more than everybody else. She wouldn't listen to me.
I guess it's pretty hard to see a person's faults when you're in love with them.
It had to take a lot to love Billy Sparks. Gun-happy fool. I was on the posse that went after him when he killed Fletcher. I went after my own son-in-law. Every man worth his salt in this town was on that posse. They don't come any better than Dave Fletcher. I owe everything I've got to him.
More than you owe your own daughter?
I haven't got a daughter. I'm not concerned with her anymore.
Yes, you are. You and the whole town are concerned. You're judging her and blaming her for something her husband did.
She doesn't have to stay here.
Oh, I didn't hear her complain. I don't think in all the time I've known the Bricker family I've heard anyone complain.
She's not a Bricker. She's Mrs. Billy Sparks, a murderer's wife. I'd sooner see her horsewhipped than have her called a Bricker.
I think maybe somebody has the idea to do just that.
What?
Joel Fletcher seems kind of handy with that whip he carries.
It's none of my business what he does.
Oh, I don't know. I've known you for a long time, Strad. I don't think you'd feel very good about it if any harm came to Helen.
Harm?
I hear some of the citizens are going to pay a visit to Helen at sundown. At the same time, they're hanging Billy in Junction City.
It's a lot of talk. Joel's excitable. He doesn't mean any harm. Besides, the sheriff would stop it.
The sheriff will be in Junction City till after the hanging.
What does she expect? Maybe it'll be all for the best. She doesn't belong in Fletcherville. This isn't her home, not anymore. Besides, if she needed anything, all she ever had to do was to come to me and ask.
You know she wouldn't do that. She's your own daughter.
Then why doesn't she say she's wrong? Why doesn't she come to me and say she's sorry? If she'd ask forgiveness, maybe I'd care what happens to her. Don't you see that, Vint? Then maybe I'd care.
Yeah. Yeah, I see.
Look, I know you're trying to be a friend. But no matter what anybody says or tries to do, I'm not leaving Fletcherville.
You are just as stubborn as your father. Aren't you going to ask me how he is?
I know how he is. He showed me this morning. He showed me plain.
Helen, I think I know you well enough to ask a question. Maybe you didn't know what Billy was like when you married him. But why did you stick with him after he killed Fletcher?
Well, I took vows, Vint.
And he gave you plenty of grounds to break them.
I'm my father's daughter. If I make a bargain or give my word good or bad, I'll stick to it. The sun's going down, Vint.
I understand you could have married Joel Fletcher.
Joel Fletcher? Did you get a good look at him this morning? You think he's any better than Billy? Besides, I wasn't going to be pushed into marriage because my father was beholden to his father.
With Sheriff Ritter away, there's no lawman to protect you, Helen.
Oh, I'm capable of protecting myself. Thanks, Ben. I'll be all right. I have this, and I know how to use it.
Helen.
I'll kill the first person who comes near this cabin. I mean it, Vint. I'm Billy Sparks' wife. A killer's wife, remember?
There's just a chance this town may forget. But if there's any gunplay here today, they never will.
I don't care if they do or don't. I married Billy. Nobody forced me to. I don't expect any favors now.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. I don't think you're going to get any.
I told you to leave before they got here.
Give me that gun. You can get out the back way. I'll stall them.
I never thought I'd hear Ben Bonner tell anyone to run from a fight.
You never saw me walk right into one either. That's a mob out there. Do you know what a mob is? You think it's just a bunch of people? Well, it's not. It's the lowest form of animal.
Well, where do I run, Mr. Bonner? And when do I stop?
Mr. Sparks? Mr. Sparks, you here? We're giving you 2 minutes to come out.
I'll give you less than that to get off my property.
Now you stay here.
I don't want you taking my part, Vince.
Those fools out there I'm worried about.
We're coming in.
Staying out. Get out of the way. This doesn't concern you. Fletcher, I've seen men stoop pretty low. But what you're leading these men to do makes you kind of special.
This is none of your business, Bonner. I told you that. As for what we're planning, all we're going to do is give Mrs. Sparks a taste of the whip. Enough so she won't show her face in Fletcherville again.
Are you sure that's the reason? Or is it because her name is Mrs. Sparks and not Mrs. Fletcher?
You don't seriously believe that's why we're here?
Don't I? You wouldn't be the first man to lead people into doing things for one reason when the real reason was a hidden one of your own.
You're talking wild, Bonner. Now get out of our way. We're going to let one man tell us what we can do and what we can't do. This is our town, isn't it? Yes. Billy Sparks is dancing on air right now. I say let's get rid of the rest of his rotten family.
Stop! All of you, listen to me. I'll leave your town. Before I go, there's something you ought to know. You said Billy Sparks was dancing on air. You ever think what that must mean to me? All of you. Did you ever think what it was like for me? I had to live with him for 7 years. All right, go ahead. You think you're the only one who knows how to use a whip? Billy Sparks knew how to.
Can you forgive me, Helen? I didn't know. I'm sorry.
Listen to me. Listen to me, all of you. Just because...
Your father was a good man. Everyone here has cause to know that. But you aren't him or anything like him. If he were here to see this day's work, he'd be ashamed, as I am right now. He'd be ashamed. This town bears his name.
I don't think you're going to get a chance to use that today.
This is all your fault, Bronner. If it hadn't been for you.
You wouldn't have lasted long anyway. People have a habit of finding out tin gods sooner or later.
You're a big man with a gun in your hand.
I'll throw away my gun if you'll do the same with that whip.
When the land around Clay City was known as gold country, with thick, rich veins of the yellow stuff in the surrounding hills. Now all the gold was long since gone, except for that which remained in men's dreams. I thought I heard a cry, a long ways off. Could have been an animal. Then it could have been something else.
We ain't got time for any more of that.
And you think of a better way to make him talk?
Yeah. One sure way. Now listen to me, old man, because I'm only going to ask you this one more time. You can still hear, can't you?
I can still hear.
That's good. Because maybe now you can stay alive. Now for the last time, where'd you find that gold?
You'll have to kill me first.
Any way you like it, old man.
Father.
Drop the gun, easy. The next one goes right between your eyes. trying to do? Kill you?
Take more than the likes of them to hurt an old desert rattler.
Now let him go. All right, what are you waiting for? Go ahead, shoot.
Don't do it, Len.
Now you drop that gun or I'll break this man's arm.
Do as he says, Len. Or do you want to kill your old brother?
He calls your brother.
That's the only thing that's keeping you alive. I'll make you a deal, mister.
Name it.
Let him go. I won't use this. Otherwise, I'll kill you both.
Drop the gun first.
Do it, Len.
Give you a hand, Hiram?
I don't need no help.
They sure worked you over.
Why? Why? They're after the gold. Want to steal my claim.
Gold claim? What are you talking about?
Here. Loaded with the yellow stuff. I'll show you. The best ore I've seen in 40 years of looking. Yes, sir. Ore that'll make a man's eyes pop right out of his head.
You mean rock, don't you, Hiram?
No, I don't mean no such darn thing. I mean ore.
Now look, old-timer, everybody knows that these hills were cleaned out over 20 years...
Now, wait a minute. That ain't so. It ain't played out. It's just harder to find.
Well, maybe you found something, but you sure...
Gold? I say it's gold. If this here yellow stuff I've got here don't assay out over $1,000, I'll eat mule steak on Sunday.
$1,000?
Yes, and that ain't all. I'll just bet that this vein I found will deliver more gold in 1 year than all they ever took out of California.
All right, Hiram.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
If anybody deserves getting a strike, you do. You've been looking longer than anybody I know.
Yeah. 45 years, Bent. Yeah. 45 years come winter. I told them people in Clay City that there was still gold in them there mountains. I could smell it. Would they believe me? No. They said old Hiram was touched. That his brains was rattling from too much sun. Well, they'll start braying a different song now. Fools. You think that I don't know gold when I see it?
Well, anyone can make a mistake, even an old-timer.
It ain't no mistake, you young fool. This is the real thing.
All right, Hiram.
All right.
You need any help getting to Clay City?
No, I know more shortcuts than you do. I'll be into town before you're into bed. Yes, and you can tell them people in Clay City that Hiram Grover struck it rich.
I'll tell them.
And see what they say about that. Yeah, you just tell them.
Even if I'd felt like telling anyone, I knew no one would believe it. Not any more than I believed it myself. Anyway, the sun was going down when I got to Clay City. It was coming on Saturday night, but after roundup time at the Circle G, all I was thinking about was a feed for Scar and myself and 10 good hours of sleep between clean, cool sheets.
Who is it?
Hiram Grover, I gotta talk to you. It's important.
Oh. Come on in, Hiram.
Vince, if the whole world isn't chock full of sidewinders, horn toads, and rattlesnakes.
No, wait. Just a minute. What's the matter?
Oh, Enos Wilson is what's the matter?
You mean that man that runs the assay office?
Yeah, he couldn't tell a gold nugget from a tea kettle.
Well, what you mean? He told you that the stuff you brought in isn't any good, is that it?
No, that's the trouble. He didn't say nothing one way or the other.
Well, then, what are you ranting around about?
You see, by the time I got the Burrs back into town, it was most 7 o'clock, and Enoch was closing up the assay office.
And it's a very good time for closing. And speaking of closing, Hiram...
I left them 3 sacks of gold with him and told him I wanted a report as soon as possible, and you know what he told me. Said I couldn't get a report till Monday.
Well, isn't that natural, tomorrow being Sunday?
Yeah, that's the same excuse he tried to hand me, the lying skunk.
Hiram, in case you don't know it, Sunday has a habit of coming after Saturday.
Vint, would you listen to me?
Hiram, everybody's been listening to you for years. All the times you've claimed to have struck it rich. If once, just once, you weren't convinced that this was it.
But, Vint, this is it.
Oh, Hiram, not again. Not again.
No, it's gold. It's gold, I tell you, Vint.
Hiram, all right. If it's gold, couldn't you wait till Monday?
I can wait. I've waited for 40 years. But what I don't like is a pack of lies being told.
By the little fellow at the assay.
Yeah. I left my gold with him. Had no choice. Got me a bowl of beef stew at O'Brien's, and then I come back to see about the burros. So I peeked in the window, and there was Enoch sitting at the counter testing my 3 sacks of gold.
All right, so he was testing your gold. That doesn't prove anything.
Oh, don't you see, Vint? He's fixing to take my gold for himself. As soon as he finds out how valuable it is, he'll do some substituting, and I'll wind up with 3 sacks of plain rock when I come in to see him on Monday.
Look, if you're so upset about this, why don't you go to him? Ask him straight out. He's probably got a simple enough explanation.
Well, I'm going to, and that's why I want you to go along.
Go along?
Vint, I need help. I ain't as young as I used to be, and you know what this strike means to me. Now, you don't want to see somebody swindle me out of it, do you?
No, Hiram.
Well, all right. Come on, we ain't got all night.
Well, give me a chance to get on some clothes.
Howdy, Enoch.
There they are. Them's my sacks.
Well, surely your sacks, Hiram.
You see, he ain't even denying it.
You've gone out of your mind, or...
I'll ask the questions, and you'll do the answering from now on, Enoch. And you better not lie in front of Vint Bonner here, either.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I thought you said that you couldn't assay this ore until Monday.
Well, what if I did?
Well, it appears like you sort of changed your mind on it.
Vid, would you know what's the matter with him?
Well, yes, I've got a fair idea.
There ain't nothing the matter with me. I can still take care of any skunk that tries to cheat me out of my gold.
What? Who you calling a skunk?
You. And if you ask me, it sure fits.
Why, you dried up little skunk!
Now, wait a minute!
Before one of you old fighting cocks throws your back out of place. He can't talk to me that way.
I'll talk to you any way I like.
No, you can't, Hiram. Not unless you can prove what you're talking about. Proof? Why, if I was trying to cheat him, would I have sent word for him to come by and pick up his assay report tomorrow morning?
You sent word?
Ask Mike O'Brien, you old horsehead. Went by the cafe myself looking for you. You'd already left. So I told him if he saw you to give you the message.
You told Mike?
Well, Hiram.
Well, doggone it, Vint, how was I to know?
Well, Enoch, I guess he's sorry.
Oh.
What did change your mind? Why did you decide to make your essay tonight instead of Monday?
He's been bringing me samples to assay for more years than I can remember. Usually it's low-grade stuff, too thin with weight and hardness to even bother about. A little better than fool's gold. But this time he seemed more anxious than usual. And then, too, this is definitely more promising. So I figured I'd just get right at it instead of waiting until Monday morning. Enoch. What do you want, you old fool? Enoch. What is it? Is it gold, Enoch? Is it gold?
You think he might have stumbled onto something?
I can't say positively yet. I still got to make a couple of tests. But it looks like maybe it's gold. Gold? I found it! I found gold! Yippee! I found gold! Yippee! I found gold! I found it!
Evening, gentlemen.
Who are you?
Never mind. Grab some air. All three of you.
I see here
You too, old man. I guess you didn't expect to see us again. I just start reaching. I guess this time there'll be no problem killing you. You run this place?
Well, I do the assaying.
And open the safe.
Well, there really ain't nothing.
Never mind, Stolen. Get it open. That was real nice, lugging this in for us.
You leave that alone, you hear?
Take it easy, Grandpop. Feels real heavy.
That all belongs to me. You got no right to it.
I guess you just don't hear good. I said take it easy.
I spent most of my life looking for that gold, and I... You leave me...
Hiram, let me see.
You saved my gold bit.
You better get him to a doctor quick.
Doc Nibble's house is in the next block.
We'll take him there. Grab hold. How is it, Doctor?
Well, it's too early to tell anything yet. I got the bullet out, but he still isn't out of the woods.
See what you mean.
For a man his age to lose all that blood, it's a very serious thing.
Sure.
I understand you got the thieves, both of them.
You sure did, Doc. What are his chances, do you think, Doctor?
He's an old man. I've seen fellows a whole lot younger than...
Yeah.
Say, you better get yourself some rest.
Well, I thought maybe we could,
Nothing you can do here. Not a chance of him coming to before morning.
Come on, Van. Doc will take care of him. All right, I'll see you in the morning, Doctor. I guess I didn't know how tired a man could get. Anyway, I slept till after 10 the next morning. Or maybe it was because I just didn't like the thought of going to Doc's to find out how Hiram was. I started to head for Doc's anyway. Then I passed the assay office, and though it was Sunday, I saw Enoch in there.
Howdy, Vin.
Morning, Enoch. Well, I see you got the place all straightened up.
Oh, yeah, Sheriff Jay and his deputy took care of that. I was, I just came back from seeing Hiram.
Oh. Is he?
No, but sure don't look good.
It's kind of sad. Just when he seems to have found what he's been looking for all his life.
You know, I couldn't sleep last night after all that fracas, and so I came back here and I finished up all the work on Hiram's samples.
This it?
Yeah.
Looks real rich.
Oh, it's the real thing, all right, no doubt about it.
So the old goat was right.
If there's any more ore as rich as this in those mountains, we'll have a full-scale gold rush right here in Clay City.
Well, Hiram ought to know about it.
Oh, he knows it.
He does?
Well, I told you that I couldn't sleep. So after I finished up the essay early this morning, I went right back over to Doc's. Well, I thought that Hiram would want to know before...
That was mighty thoughtful of you, Enoch.
It wasn't nothing. I just couldn't sleep, that's all. Oh, Doc says he's got a good, strong constitution for a man of his age. Why, he just hasn't got any fight left in him. You know, Vent, he just doesn't care whether he lives or dies.
Well, you had a hard night, Enoch. You probably all took it up, too.
Oh, no, Vent. You see, Doc couldn't understand it either. He thought if there was anything that would make Hiram want to live, it would be knowing he'd struck it rich.
You'd think so after he spent most of his life grubbing around those mountains.
Well, the only way we can explain it is that Hiram just don't believe me. Maybe he thinks I'm lying to him because he's so bad off.
Well, he did say he never got an honest essay.
So we thought, the Doc and me, we thought that maybe if he heard it from you.
Yeah, maybe you're right. You know, Enoch, if I ever need a Philadelphia lawyer, I'm going to call on you. Well, Hiram, how's it going?
Fair, Vent, fair, considering.
Well, the doctor says you're going to be real well real soon.
Yeah, he told me.
But you know, doctor can't do it all by himself. You've got to give him some help.
It don't matter. Don't matter at all.
Now, what are you talking about? I figured you'd be jumping up and down in bed, just raring to get going as soon as you heard the news.
You mean about the gold?
Yeah, Enoch here says he told you. Biggest strike ever made around Clay City.
Yeah, he told me.
You believe him, don't you?
Yeah, I believe him. I knew it was real stuff first time I found it. Maybe that was the sign.
The sign?
Yeah, Vent. My life's over. 45 years I looked for that yellow stuff. And now that I've found it, it don't leave no reason to keep on looking. No reason at all. Oh, after all those years, I'm tired, Vent. Awful tired.
But Hiram, you're going to be a rich man, a very rich man.
Oh, you think that's why I was hunting for gold? Because it'd make me rich? Well, when I was younger, maybe that was the reason. But lately, in the last few years, I wanted to prove it to folks that I knew what I was talking about, that Hiram Grover wasn't touched in the head like they said.
But Hiram, you know better than to believe anything that people say about you.
So, it won't be so hard to die. It won't be hard at all. I got done what I set out to do. I guess maybe I'm luckier than most men get to be.
Well, that's one way to look at it.
Yeah. It just goes to show, Vent, that things turn out for the best.
Yeah, sure. Well, I guess Enoch here did the right thing.
What's that?
Oh, nothing. You get some rest.
Now, just a minute, Vent Bonner. What'd you start to tell me about Enoch Wilson doing something? Now, finish it up, what you're going to tell me. Go on.
Hiram, I don't want to get you upset, so you just get some rest.
Great jumping Jehoshaphat. Don't you worry none about me getting upset. I can take care of myself. Now, what was it you're going to tell me?
Well, Hiram, you were so weak and so feeble, you can hardly blame Enoch here for feeling sorry for you.
Feeling sorry for me? Enoch Wilson feeling sorry for me?
Well, anyway, I guess that's the reason he felt he had to tell you that...
You don't mean he was lying to me? That ore that I brought in wasn't full of gold?
No, I didn't say that.
Great balls of fire. Why, you low-down skunk. Of all the low-down double-crossing...
You're a sick man, and you better get...
Sick man, am I? I'll show you how sick I am. So, it wasn't true, huh, about my strike?
Now, Hiram, a man in your condition...
My condition, Oh, they thought I was gonna die, and then they were all gonna have a laugh on me, huh? Well, I just ain't gonna be that obliging. No, sir. I'm gonna get well if it kills me. I'll do it in spite of people. And tell me about these things, and I'll find gold. Yes, sir, I'll go out and find it in them there mountains where I said I'd find it. Tell you? Yes. Well, gonna soft me into kicking the bucket.
Hey, Doc, come here.
Oh!
Looks like your patient made a miraculous recovery.
You just tell them, Bint, that if they're thinking anything like that, they'd better start thinking... Oh, drat it. They'd better start thinking different.
Well, sir, by the time Hiram got well and found out he was responsible for a genuine gold rush, there just wasn't much he could do about it. Then the way the money poured in, faster than Hiram could spend it, no matter how hard he tried. Sure went in for some fly-by-night schemes, though. Like organizing a prospecting expedition to go to Alaska, someplace called the Klondike. Now, who'd ever find gold in a place like that?